And good morning, everyone from IBM.TV. I am the actual co host, Kimberly Calhoun, and we have a wonderful day today. Today is Thursday, June 11th, 2020. I can't remember how many episodes this is, but I know that Ankit and I have done well over 80 episodes now. Ankit's going to have to give me a number. But anyway, today is Podcaster Thursday. And this is the day that we get to interview some very interesting podcasters that are out there because, as we know, podcasters, there's a bunch of them. I think Nick always says there's 3 to 4 thousand podcasters, new podcasters every week. But this is the voice of the world, the worldwide voice, not just the voice of America or the voice of India or the voice of Malaysia, Hong Kong, Canada. I don't want to forget anyway, South Africa, Africa. This is the voice of everyone. Italy. I don't want to forget anyone that's been on our show, so please forgive me if I did. The UK. But IBM TV decided we wanted to bring in some smart voices, people that had a voice that weren't being heard globally, that were very, very smart. That's why we came up with the tagline Smart TV. It's also a means to engage with the audience, to allow them to text in questions or comments. We're not prejudiced here, but we do ask that people refrain from, profanity and rudeness, and try not to be prejudiced. But we are addressing some various serious issues of our world, some of the world's most biggest crisis of our lifetime, and hopefully moving forward of anyone's lifetime, that no one else will see these challenges. And as I always say to people, challenges are good, right? We learn from our challenges, and that's how we grow. But may your challenges be more gainful than painful. In this particular situation, our worldwide crisis has been in particular very painful to all of us. But there have been many blessings as well. And some of the blessings consist of a cleaner earth, a better ecosystem, and some people coming up with some very smart ideas. Because as with any crisis in any situation, humans have a tendency of being very resilient, and we come up with some of the greatest innovations of all times and move forward. So anyway, folks, Thursday, we also have a lot of celebrities from IBM TV who have their own show, and I'm going to bring them on board. Now, Ankit is not here today. He is here on backstage, but he's suffering from technical difficulties, and we will get those resolved. But we have Jim E. Welcome, Jim.
Welcome to you.
Jim is Chess Fitness.
Chess Fitness. Yeah.
Yes. And, folks, I'm going to say that I've become a very, very big chess fan, more so than any other sport in the world. I don't know if you call this a sport, but it's because of all the smart chess people that come on the show. We have Alexander Starr waiting in the backstage. Good morning,
hello, everybody.
Actually, we call him Sasha. We know him as Sasha, but his stage name is Alexander Starr. His real name is Starr. He is a star, chess stars. So we have Chess Fitness. Get yourself fit. And we have Chess Stars, where you can take your fitness skills and refine them and learn how to guess a chess master's next move. Now, how cool is that, right? I mean, a chess master to me is probably one of the smartest strategical people in the world, right? You really have to exercise that brain and learn how to move pieces of chess. And it's not this. It's this and this. Sasha, how's things going to Canada?
Wonderful. Everything is going great. People are opening up. More people are getting together. Everything is slowly opening up, although many things have not been opened yet. And it appears to me probably by July 1st, everything will. Because July 1st, it's a national holiday in Canada. It's Canada Day. July 4th is Independence Day, and July 1st in Canada is Canada Day. Okay, that's great. So it's a long weekend. So hopefully by July 1st, everything will be opened. But everybody is very cautious still. Um, Everything is being taken very carefully, very considerably. I think governments, all level of governments, government of Canada, Ontario, municipal, I think they're all doing pretty good job in terms that they're all united. There is very little animosity between these all governments. They know that they have to do all their best to help people, and it seems to me that they're handling that quite well. I'm I'm critical of our federal government and especially our prime minister most of the times, but I think he's doing well so far. The most disturbing thing is not actually Canadian in nature, but it's financial markets. Because when we're talking about all kinds of fitnesses, I think your financial fitness is far the most important one because you can be uh, very fitted and you can run the 25 kilometers and you can do all wonderful things. But if you're not fit financially, it's all it's all really that doesn't help you much.
And,
So
and
today,
I agree. It's so much. I think we all do. Thank you so much for supporting us on that too, Sasha and Jim. I want to get with you in a minute about what's going on in your neck of the woods. But one of the things I want to embellish on is that Sasha wants to share with us some of his tips and techniques. We're going to do a show on trading stocks, the proper way of trading, but that how not to be afraid of it. But to me, the common law language of trading, not from a book or from someone who's real experienced about it that wants to sell you their service, but from people who just do it every day. That I used to have a friend, and they had a group of people that would sit around a table instead of playing poker. They would lay out the stocks and do penny stocks, right? And I think I heard Sasha say something about penny stocks once, but. So I really thought that was really cool that they did that. At the time, every penny I had to go to take care of family, but I thought that was really interesting. And I didn't really, I should have gone to learn, right? This is where you look back and you go, wow, that I should have done. So Sasha's willing to share some of these with us, and we're going to do a show on that. And I really greatly appreciate that because as we learn in my journey of Money Masters with Nick, it's not about making the money, right? It's about how you manage it, but what you do with it. So it's about spending, saving, investing. See, make your money work for you. If your money's not working more for you than the money you're working for, you're doing something wrong. And
Brilliant.
then
I'm gonna steal that.
then there's taxing, right? And I tell people, please don't forget to teach your children about taxes. And then there's giving forward, right? There's nothing better than giving forward, but sometimes when you give forward, it comes back. But don't expect it to. But you'll be very, very surprised. So anyway, Jim, share with us what's going on in San Francisco or your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I would be glad to. But first, I want to just say that Sasha is a far more sophisticated investor than I am, and I'm fascinated to learn about this opportunity, and I will be following it. We were both investing in a similar startup. Only he was in the first round of investors, and I was in the second round. And he made money, and I did not. So I'm very interested in what Sasha has to say. In the San Francisco Bay Area, we have also loosened our restrictions and shelter in place to some extent. Everyone is still wearing masks and still social distancing, but stores are opening up. But we also have the sorrowful experience of watching things like restaurants and stores, like my neighborhood pet store is closed as of July 1st. And so the economic impact is severe. And I don't see the end. I don't see this glorious, magnificent phoenix rising from the ash anytime soon. I think it's going to take years for us to get back to where we were, a very robust economy. People that were doing startups and podcasts and all of that anything that they were doing, had a good chance of being successful in the Silicon Valley area. Now, not It was no guarantees. You still had to do your homework. You had to be financially fit, and you had to know what you were doing. But the economic impact will continue in places that we loved to be customers of, will no longer be available to us. So, and I worry about those people, the people that were waiting on us on restaurants that we'd love to go to dine. And it's just a very hard hit area, and we are not alone. This is cross country. And while we are opening up, we also have this fear of a second wave of the pandemic, where we might be more lax in our social distancing. Maybe we won't wear masks, and we will suffer the consequences of another wave of this pandemic. So we're optimistic, but cautiously so.
You opened up a door to Pandora for me here, because there is a huge talk about another wave, or what, because it's never going to leave us. Okay, it's just like Ebola; it's never going away. It's here. It's here for good. So we're going to have to learn the strategic processes of dealing with it. Is it going to be wearing masks the rest of our lives and social distancing? I don't think so. Here's what I understand: there are we're learning every day, right? But the research continues going, and again, human resilience. We're going to find some answers, but we've learned how to treat it for the most part. Early detection means early treatment. Early treatment usually means reduced fatalities. So that's a positive, and that's the way we dealt with all the other viruses in our lives. I don't know why we are so hurried to leap to an answer. I mean, we all want answers, but don't rush an answer that could be wrong. Don't rush to this. Don't rush to a vaccine until we know it's right. There's going to be, I'm going to predict, there's going to be several fake vaccines just to make people feel like they've done something. And there will be 2 or 3 pharmaceutical companies that will probably make billions of dollars off of a vaccine that had nothing in it that would really help us. But what I would rather see is all the things that the smart doctors who've been on our show every day while, sharing their experiences. Build your immunity. Learn to fight this. Defense. It's like football. Defense. Learn to fight it, right? Build your immunity. Be smart, right? Be careful about the people you go around. What's wrong with getting tested once a week? Seriously, what's wrong with it? Nothing.
Your immune system is your first line of defense. There's no question about it.
We will survive because of it, because a lot of elderly people have been surviving. Now, the reason why a lot of people haven't survived is that they were, like Nick says, they were detected too late. Help me, I'm out of oxygen. It's too late. By the time they put you on a ventilator, your odds are 20% you're going to live. That's not good. So, get yourself an oxygen meter, or go get it tested. Things are getting better. Make sure you have sanitary wipes with you everywhere you go. Become Monk. Okay, go watch the TV show, binge watch Monk. Thank you, Nick. Binge watch Monk. Okay, behave like Monk. All right, I loved Monk. I loved him. But let's talk about the worst pandemic right now. It's getting back out. Okay, and I'm going to tell everybody, I'm even scared to go out the front door. Going to downtown to the courthouse was the biggest move and step I took in 4 months. Meeting Nick downtown at the courthouse. I was scared to death. And there was a line at the parking booth, right? Because we're stupid in North Carolina. We haven't figured out how to do an app for parking. So you have to still go pay at a parking booth. They don't even do parking meters where your car is, which is easier for a handicapped person like me. No, I got to take and go all the way over to the parking meter, stand in line, and then go all the way back to my car. Because the police will walk around and look at each license plate, because here's where they're stupid again. They decided they didn't want numbers at each parking place so that you can key in a number. You key in your license plate. You don't have to put the ticket in your window anymore. So the officer has to go around with a clipboard and look at every license plate of every car, and then look at the clipboard to see who's past due and who's not. And I watched this officer do this all day long. There's no indication that that car has been there too long. He's got to go mark the tires or something. Whereas a parking meter would tell you.
I have to object because I've met too many smart people from North Carolina. I think North Carolinians are not stupid, but maybe their governmental system needs some education.
Well, but we have contractors that sell them these solutions, and these are not very smart contractors.
Wait, everybody. We are being sold down the bloody river. Okay, let's go look at the facts and go fact check this. There is no second wave. There is none. You know why? Because we haven't gone over the first wave yet.
Right.
If you go look at the data, what's happening is we went to this level, okay, and we're continuing upwards. Here's what's really going to happen.
We never plateaued.
Okay, no, we never plateaued. We never went down. That's a bunch of garbage, and it's been spoon-fed to everybody because we're too concerned about the almighty dollar and not about lives. This is the reality. Okay, the reality is that we're going to see 100,000 more people die, but it has now become acceptable between now and probably around September 1st, the next 2 months.
Why is it acceptable?
The reality is you're going to see an increase in deaths between now and the end of the year, a tremendous increase. The reason why we do not have effective leadership, our leadership is not telling us the truth about this virus, and frankly, we don't care about the deaths anymore. In other words, it's all of a sudden, hey, 11 people, now it's 100,000. We're 100. We're going to be over 200, 250,000 between now and the end of the year. Why? Because we are concerned about the almighty dollar. Less
Sorry, Grandma. I don't care if you die because we all got to die sometime.
Exactly. I don't care if you die, but the thing is, I need to pay my mortgage tomorrow. That's the reality of what's going on here. And we're not being coached properly to maintain social distances and mask. The reason why it's inconsistent, even here in North Carolina, they'll have one county goes, well, I don't think we have to wear a mask. And the other one goes, yeah, you got to wear a mask. Okay. Right. We have ineffective leadership. We have a very poor response to this. We do not have a strong leader who's telling us what we should do. And so what we're going to do is you're going to get this result, and it's going to get worse between now and the end of the year, which is one reason I'm not going to play the market, because I think it's a fool's game right now. I know Sasha did. I would have played the GE game because General Electric, I believe, was low. Did you get out of GE, Alexander?
No, I didn't, because as you know, I sold for a very good premium $8 October calls. So now I can play two ways. First of all, I can keep it all going until third Friday of the November, but I'm curious if I should probably buy back my $8 calls, and I already making very substantial premium.
Well, you already made out, because GE had a nice movement upwards. See, and sometimes when it does that, my game is if I make 20%, I get out, because my theory is that the stock cannot be worth 20% more than it was when I bought it a couple months ago. So it's sort of like a day trading mentality.
My mentality is one. It's a capital preservation. Repeat it 3 times. Capital preservation, capital preservation, and capital preservation.
Yeah, right.
Now, after that, once that's engraved in stone, and you will repeat it 10 minutes later, once again, 3 times the same thing. Then when you will go to bed in the evening, you'll do one. Now, slowly, it will be ingrained in your psyche, and then you will consider trades with a very, very low risk. Unfortunately, I cannot offer you risk-free trades. There is no such thing on the stock market. It just doesn't exist. But the probability, you can really heavily put in your favor. If you, for example, follow the chart of gold, for example, you see gold went up big time. It was $28 some, then it went down 25, 23, and then it stopped right there. It's not going down anymore, although market skyrocketing every day. So that's a signal that probably gold is ready, because potentially gold could be $100 an ounce. So, okay, at least for now, probably it will start going to next leg up, maybe to $30 or so. Okay, so what's my strategy? Just go and buy 20,000 shares of Barrick Gold?
Yeah.
No, I will not buy 20,000. I will buy only 10,000. But I will sell covered calls. If I bought it at $23.50, I'm selling $25 calls. So say, actually, this time I play differently. This time I played it very secure trade when I sold 24 calls. I bought stock at 23.45. I sold 24 calls June 12th, which is in 2 days expiration. No, hold, tomorrow. Tomorrow's expiration. Tomorrow I will collect my juicy, my lovely premium. I love it. I just so ecstatic. But I will keep the stock, and I will sell now probably August 25 calls because there is more premium. Because this trade, I didn't collect a lot of premium, but I just wanted to have some kind of a cushion on downside. If I'm not right, if gold will, before going up, will go down a little bit or so on. So I sold this calls. And
I can't wait until we do the investing show. That would be something that
what we're talking about.
I think, you know what? I think this will help people more than anything else.
There's absolutely no question.
This is number one. And number two, I'm a real investor playing with my own money. I'm not paid by any company, by any advertising company or mutual fund or anything. So don't be upset, Nick, when I will tell people to fire all their advisors.
No, I work with about 2,000 financial advisors. So I know what
How are they doing now?
Like 2,000.
Are you still making money?
Not all.
Pardon?
Are you still making money?
Who's making money?
Well, the thing is, it really depends. If you know the game, the game is they collect what they call an asset under management fee, and so what happens is
something like that.
Listen, Sasha. Okay, they collect an asset under management fee. All right, my business partner has like 83 million under management, which is pretty small, but pretty good for just one person. Because two of my other friends have 1.3 billion, and you met Dennis. Dennis has 1.3, and Kim has 1.6 billion. Now here's the game: they get 1% to 0.5% to 1% of the assets under management as a fee to place their money, usually with SEI and some other dealers who do the trading. All right. Now, what is 1% of, let's say, 100 million? It's $1 million a year, right? Okay. So let's say the market goes down to 50 million. Okay. They still make their 1%. So they make 500,000 a year. What about the investor? Investor lost 50 million. I mean, that's the name of the game. And it's a basic game that a friend of mine, Glenn Eisenberg, said when he retired. He sold his company for 11 million. He goes, I don't know why these people just don't do this themselves. But they don't, because they're so uncomfortable with managing their own money. They turn the money over to him, and he collected his asset under management fee. And then he, in turn, turns it over to somebody who actually does the work. In other words, actually does the trading. Now, the reason I know how the industry works is I've been in it for 37 years. In other words, it's not like, boy, I just started in it. But as an attorney, what I do is I work with the clients and the financial advisors from a legal perspective as opposed to investing. But in 1997, I was actually securities licensed. But then I realized as an attorney, you have this conflict of interest. So you have to have one, and they're able to review your files. And that's a big one because the attorney has to keep your files confidential. So what I did is I dropped my securities license. So I'm no longer securities licensed, but my business partner, Max, is. He's 663, 26. He's a principal. He's what they call an OSJ, so he supervises about 27 agents and financial advisors. Now, how are they doing in the life and annuity business? Dead. Now, it should be the easiest time in the world to sell a life product. Okay, but let me tell you something. Nobody's purchasing. I checked the reviews for the last 2 months. That industry is completely like dead. So the new guys, if you're new in the financial services industry, you are drinking a lot of red ink. Look. Okay.
So Nick, I would listen to you guys forever talking about the stock market. But back on the COVID, I was thinking, there's a million stories out there about the pandemic. But don't you have one personal to you that you would like to share? And I would like.
My wife actually thought she had it. She actually went and got tested, and she came out negative. Okay, but Then I asked, well, haven't she got tested positive? What am I supposed to do? In other words, it's almost like she gets it, then I get it. And I have a compromised immune system. Well, she does too. And this is the problem when you get older. You're never, as I say, you get over 60, things start breaking down, which means your probability goes up to 5% mortality. Then if you hit age 70, it's like 10%. And then if you're over age 80, it's like 20%. I mean, it just goes skyrocket. If you're young, hey, you probably can get it and walk away, no big deal. But what I'm listening to on traditional media is no good advice whatsoever. No piece of reality.
We have been giving advice on the number one thing that everybody needs to do, and then we're going to introduce our next guest. But the number one thing is that we need to build our immunities. But they don't want us to do that. Because all of the health food has gone up.
Immunity, social distancing, wear the mask. Now, social distancing is easy for chess players, okay? Because I go play on Elite Chess. I play on chess.com. I don't really give a rat's rear if I ever meet another person again. Okay, I mean, seriously, it's like I'll just go play chess forever, like that. Okay, so that part is easy for me.
Not everybody's like that. And
I know not everybody's
you
like
are the most sociable butterfly I know.
Thank goodness.
Okay, yeah, right. They actually have to be with people. I go, listen, I got my dog. I got my computer. I can play on chess on the internet. I'm good. Okay, so for me, that's not a problem. But for normal people, which I'm not, then they'll actually have to say, well, I got to be close to people. I have to go to a bar and socialize. But the thing is, they're putting themselves at risk. Now, could you go to the beach? Yeah, just keep distance from the beach. I mean, there are a lot of things that we could do. Our pool's open. My wife went to the pool. I said, hey, no problem. You just stay away from people, man. This is really simple. Stay away from people. Just put that in your brain. Stay away from people. If you have to get close, wear a mask. And do what you can to mitigate this. This is not rocket science. Look, we're not developing the latest computer chip, and we're not sending a man to the Mars. Okay, what we're doing is basic fundamental things to mitigate risk.
Like drinking.
Wear the mask. Okay. Keep away from people, social distance as much as possible, and then you can go about your daily life.
But I would think a swimming pool would kill the virus because we've been told to wash our hands to kill the virus.
Wash your hands. This is simple stuff. I mean, you don't need a graduate degree in physics to do this simple stuff. This is insane.
Let's welcome our new guest, everyone.
Oh, let's see, RT, where are you from?
Today's podcaster, he's Adventures with Pictures. Hi, Ryan. Welcome to our crazy podcaster day. How are you doing? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Bowie, Maryland, and I have a co-host. He resides in Stafford, Virginia. So yeah, I'm from Bowie, Maryland.
Wow, Bowie, Maryland. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, I mean, as far as what's going on in Bowie, it's peaceful. I have seen some, peaceful protests just around, just the state of Maryland. Actually, I was inspired to attend a peaceful protest myself. My daughter, who's 17, with everything going on, she actually wanted to go to a protest, and that actually inspired me to go as well. So I was very proud of her, and we both followed suit and did one. But overall, it's been pretty nice, pretty peaceful. No drama for the most part in the city of Maryland.
Okay, that's a good place to live. How about the COVID crisis? How do you guys feel about that right now?
Oh, well, as far as the COVID crisis is concerned, if I'm not mistaken, the numbers have been hitting getting better, as an improvement. We have a lot of things in place, like the previous person who was speaking said. It is pretty simple. Every time I go to a grocery store or something, I definitely am required to wear a mask. Even outside, with just people walking outside, I see people with masks. I guess just to be, overprotective or just to be overly cautious. So yeah, the numbers have been going down. Some places of business has been opening up. Matter of fact, I received I want to say a letter or an announcement, like you get the COVID announcements on your phone, that restaurants are opening back up, but they're only seating. It's only outdoor seating, no seating indoors. things of that nature. So it seems to be making a turn for the better. I was actually, yes. And I'll just one last quick point. I was actually fortunate enough to still remain employed during this pandemic. And, my job, for example, is still saying, we're going to still be safe and cautious. We're still going to wait to allow employees back into the building.
Oh, RT, are you a podcaster by any chance?
Yes, actually.
Okay, the thing is, see, podcasters are very interesting. They always show up the same. You see that big microphone sitting right in front of them? They always have these big bloody microphones. I would go like, got to be a podcaster. You wouldn't have a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Microphones.
Yeah, they got a football-sized microphone. Okay, I'm a podcaster. Can you guess that I'm a podcaster?
I love working with him.
Tell me a little about your podcast. What is your podcast about?
Sure. Well, Adventures with Pictures. It's a podcast that me and my best friend for roughly 20 years we created. On the podcast, we cover 4 topics, at least one of the 4 topics every episode. The 4 topics that we cover is traveling, photography or videography, filmmaking, or what have you. And then we have finance, and then we have entrepreneurship. So those are one of the 4 topics. We cover one of those 4 topics every episode. And one of the common themes for every episode is we do open up with a city or a country that we've visited, and we give like a fairly thorough rundown of it. For example, we'll kick off the show with my coworker will be like, "Hey, I just came from Medellin, and these are the pros and cons I found from it. These are some of the things that I enjoy doing out there. These are some of the barriers and challenges that I had." And then after we discuss whatever city that we travel to, that's when we get into one of those 4 topics. Business, finance, entrepreneurship, photography, or what have you.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like IBM TV.
Yeah, you covered our neck of the woods. So this is fascinating. You've been doing this for 20 years?
Oh no, me and my best friend for 20 years. I've just been best friends with him for 20 years. We actually started a podcast roughly a month and a half ago. So.
Oh, okay. So I misinterpreted that, but you know what? Podcasting's been around a long time. Walter Football has been doing his podcasting for 20 years. And I learned a lot from him about how to innovate something online to build a 6 million fan base. And one of the things he taught me was to be consistent and on time every week, right? Or every day, whenever your show is, be consistently on. And knowing that we were always on time. He moved his podcast show to IBM TV. That was our first venture into doing what we call live streaming for TV. And using a platform that we converted to this. We went from one platform to the other. One was costing us hundreds of hours of editing and downloading and uploading. And this became our saving grace so that we could do more shows because we just live streamed to one platform. And out of it, we've met some people from all over the world. We've got Sasha Alexander Starr from Canada and Russia. He's actually from Russia, but he lives in Canada.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
And he is a financial expert, and he owns Chess Stars, which is a very, very fun and engaging platform. And this weekend, we're going to be hosting a Chess Star game where 2 chess masters are playing, and you get to guess their next move, and you can win money at the end of the game. Not many, that's kind of fun. I can't wait to do that. And then we have Jim E., who came onto our show and then started his own show called Chess Fitness. We have a lot of chess people here. Nick is a chess master as well, but Jim is a chess master who wrote a book called Chess for Dummies, and is just fabulous, wonderful spokesperson for the chess community, just like Sasha. So, and this is not all of our team. Our team, we have doctors from all over the world, medical doctors, who come on our show now. We kind of organize things. So Friday is mostly our doctor day, but we also have kind of like a runoff on Saturdays with stem cell research and science and chess, more chess. But your platform is very similar to ours. What prompted you to do this? Because this is a huge take on. This is
well, yeah. Well, actually, what prompted me to do this actually, funny story. I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. Because I deal with multimedia a lot. Anyway, just from my regular 9 to 5. With photography, videography, video editing, and so forth. And so, funny story. My wife was like, since you're so passionate about, why don't you start a podcast? And then at the time, I supported. I respected her suggestion, but I was like, but what am I going to talk about really? And then, fast forwarded to roughly a month and a half or so ago, my best friend was like, hey man, we should start a podcast. And I was like, I had the same response at first. I was like, yeah, but I understand he has a bigger personality than I do, but I'm like, yeah, but what am I going to do? What am I really going to talk about? I know I'm passionate about multimedia and so forth, but but he was apparently must have been, sitting on this idea for a while. And then he just ran down the whole platform of, we could cover all the things that we're passionate about. He's very passionate about traveling. I'm very passionate about the whole photography, video side of things. And we're both have a mutual fascination with different ways of, savings or finance. And we're both had that same passion for entrepreneurship. So it was his idea. He brought it to the table, and he actually, had like a rundown already in his mind. And so I was like, well, you know what? Sounds like he knows what he's doing. I know what I'm doing when it comes to the multimedia aspects of things. So, okay, why not? Let's give it a shot. Why not us? Let's see how it goes.
I love that. Why not? Why not us? Why not me? One of the best entrepreneur speeches I saw, I'll never forget this, a multi-billionaire on stage speaking to startups. And he finished his wrap up. You could tell he was coached. This is what you're going to say and stuff like this. And he made his own pitch deck, but well rehearsed. And then he stopped because he was supposed to get off stage. You have a time limit when you speak, and it can be irritating because there might be one more you want to say and you don't get it. Mm-hmm. But he stopped and he said, wait a minute. And he came back because I have one more thing to say to you guys, because he was self-made. Right. He said, don't forget to say, why not? Why not me?
Absolutely.
And I didn't remember anything else he said, right? And I hear speakers and I speak and I meet speakers, but you always take away one thing, right? Or something you want to take, and I took away that, right? Wow. Mm-hmm. And I think that now when I do things, I don't let myself guilt myself out of doing something, because we can do that a lot. And I go, wait a minute, why not? Why not me? Or fear, right? You're not going to make it. And then I tell myself, well, you know what? Brad Pitt wasn't a big star until he got out there and was doing it, right?
Exactly.
Nick Palameda wasn't a big, rich superstar with his business until he got out there and made it.
That's a lot of work. Well, I have a question, RT. How do you distribute your podcast?
Well, for right now, we actually we go through Podbean as our podcast host, and then for right now, as far as distributing, we just go through all the social media channels. We video record all of our sessions through Zoom because of the whole COVID thing, pandemic. We haven't even had a session under the same roof. Me and my best friend. So we've been Zooming our podcast anyway. So to answer your question, we distribute the video portion of a podcast through YouTube. We also post it on Spotify. It comes out every Friday, and same with the Apple iTunes podcast. So we try to make it available on all platforms, on Google Play, SoundCloud. I want to see if I'm missing one, but that's how we distribute it. And then I'll take some of some what I find to be nice sound bites or snippets, and I'll just play like a little small teasers here and there throughout social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Well, RT, I would like to ask you a question, because from what I gathered from what you were telling us is that your passion is a video passion,
yes.
visual passion. And now you're talking about moving that to an audio platform. And I wonder how you can transmit your passion for visual things into an audio format.
Yeah, you know, that part, I mean, I'm still playing around with that, like how to, you know, successfully do that. You know, so I really don't have an answer for that right now. Like, you know, so it's almost like the furthest, the most I've thought about it was, you know, once again, just through, you know, social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media channels I have. If the furthest I've thought about was just, you know, try to inform people of, you know, that we're also available on iTunes and Spotify and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still need some thought on that.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me, because what I'm hearing from you is this visual passion. And I think that there is a way to and I don't have the magic answer for you, but I would imagine if I were you, I would be thinking about how I can do this audio medium and combine it with my visual passion.
Yeah. I think, you know, like probably maybe the better solution would be to maybe focus more of my energy towards like YouTube platforms or even more of a platform like this, especially if we have guests. This is my first time using, you know, doing this type of live video. So this may be something that I could play with as well.
Yeah, good for you, and keep going.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and you said you have like 4 different shows that you actually put on. Again, in other words, you have travel, entrepreneurship,
Yes.
right? Investing. Okay, so you have. And what was the other one?
Photography.
Yes. Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you do those 4 shows, do you do one separate show for each one of them and run 4 shows, or do you want one show and you mix them all together?
Well, it's the latter. It's more like one show, and we may, you know, mix, you know, several of those topics in that one show, or sometimes just on that one show we may just, you know, heavily focus on investing or finance for this show, but then maybe next week we'll just have more of a focus on photography, maybe how I got started in photography and so forth.
Yeah, because we run entrepreneurs on Wednesday. We actually have what they call Startup Wednesday, and it's all about entrepreneurship. Investing, we have not launched that show yet, but we're talking to Sasha, Jim, and putting together a team to do a investing show. In other words, something just so, but right now we don't run any investing shows right now. Photography, no one here knows how to do that. So it's just like, that's beyond the scope of anybody who I've talked to here. So the thing is, that's one reason the platform we use is so good, StreamYard, because it's photography for dummies. You know, it's like he wrote a book called Chess for Dummies. Okay, and it's published by there it is all around the world. Okay, he's the author. We also do plan on having a book show eventually. In other words, the thing is, we just don't have a leader for that, and we invite authors in to discuss their new books that come in, or people have wrote books before, and just have a total segmented. So the thing is, our plan is actually expand between now and the end of the year to add about 120 shows, which we've been doing at a rate of about 2 per week. But here's the problem. I'll just let you know. The problem is that we rely heavily on the producer, the person who's doing the show, to basically put the show together and make it work. In other words, the network can't do that. It's the producer that can do that. So Sasha over there runs a Chess Stars, which I think he's doing one again this Saturday. It runs every Saturday actually, and it's developed to where he's got the number 2 chess player in the world who's on a show, because you got to kind of like move up the whole ladder there, you know, before you get the guest to show up. And so he's got Alexander Shirov. I think Alexander Shirov, does he live in Spain or is he in Latvia?
He used to live in Argentina. Then he joined Spanish Chess Federation. Presently, he lives in Latvia. And I think he worked out a deal where they would allow to switch federation also back to Latvia. from
Okay.
Spain. But it's in works. He has
Right.
4.5 wives and several kids and so on. So his life is not straightforward. It's rather complicated, but he's doing quite well. And
Right.
I'm glad that we are going to have him on a contest. This contest will be first time ever that all production from Chess Stars will be directly viewed by IBM TV
Oh,
audience.
really? Okay. So we're going to be
The
flip
first
flipping.
time.
Okay.
There are some. We still have to try tomorrow the Google View, Google Play the concept, because we never tried it before. So we
Right.
will have a lot of work for our producer, because we have to combine now Skype, where we do audio commentaries, the StreamYard, where people will see the all complete video done, the contest itself. We projected to have tomorrow a record audience, because when we made the announcement about share of many people are active right now, and we have tremendous activity on all media and everywhere else. So once that's done, we have the final so-called show in July, again contest, where there will be several potential investors, and we are getting ready to start world championship for move predictors. And I'd like to have a first easily the $1 million overall fund. That's no brainer. But I wanted to have a first prize $1 million. That's where I need investors, and hopefully we'll do in July the show, which will attract the actual investors. They will see finished pro. I could do it actually on Saturday, but because we never tried this technology.
Right.
I'm just scared that who knows if it will work.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll see.
We try to push the limits of technology. Also, RT,
Yeah.
we are beamed into 100 countries right now. So
Yeah.
Ankit, who's usually with us from India, is right now on backstage. So you have to realize our audience is the United States, India. We're probably seeing more in India than the United States. Malaysia, matter of fact, the comment came in from Malaysia, Australia, South Africa. We actually run 2 shows from South Africa on Sunday. Alexander May's Musical Cafe and Grant Edmonds show both come in from South Africa. So we have a kind of a different audience because it's worldwide. The people that watch, it's a little different. But all the subject matter you described is universal. Photography is a worldwide conversation. In other words, and so is investing. I mean, that's we're talking about worldwide conversations that people would be interested in. So you may want to go back to your producers and talk about expanding onto IBM TV, because we would certainly entertain adding 4 more shows.
Oh, great.
Assuming that you can stay alive long enough to do 4 shows a week. That's like a lot of work. We appreciate that, but we do try to help as much as we can in finding guests and bleeding guests over into your show. What I mean by that is that Alexander May, who runs out in South Africa, she's like an actress, singer, famous over there, but doesn't know anybody over here. Wesley Elder, who shows up to our celebrity show, which we do on Tuesday. Monday we do at Business and Economics. Tuesday we do celebrities. Wednesday we do startups. Thursday podcasters, and Friday doctors. Okay, so we kind of like run that theme. But anyway, she invited the Hollywood producer onto her show, which I thought was pretty good, because then she has a higher probability in the future of maybe getting casted in one of his movies as soon as the movie industry starts up again. Because I don't know if you know this, all the people in the movie production, they're sitting on the sidelines unemployed because of COVID-19. So they're not doing anything. You can do your podcasting because don't have to come in contact with a lot of people, but to do a movie, whoa, that's a big step. You got to get A together with B together with C, and then because you do the video production. How are you able to do your job right now in video production with COVID-19? What are you doing?
Well, as far as that goes, I mean, currently because of that, it's when it comes to my regular 9 to 5 and video production, we don't necessarily have like a lot of people in studio. We're a very small organization as far as my 9 to 5 goes. And a lot of my video editing skills, especially as of late, has really just been, just like a lot of tutorial videos showing people how to work certain tools or resources on our website. Maybe just inform them about certain products or just economic details that they weren't aware of. So right now I could do my job just because it's not a lot of people I have to really be in contact with. As far as that goes, I could literally just use my resources from home since we're teleworking anyway, and still be able to effectively do my job. And also with that being said, when it comes to the job, I'm also one of the 2 social media managers as well. So that part has also been easy. So that's to answer your question. I still don't have to interact with a lot of people. A lot of it is just what type of creative videography ways or video editing tools can you use to really tell my organization's story.
That's awesome.
Right. So do you do post-production work? Is that what you're able to do? I'm just curious what you do in terms of photography is and working with these programs. I barely know this. Is that like Final Cut? All I know is the names. There's like Final Cut. I don't know. And then after that, there's the end of my post-production education.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, just to get more into it, I'm also, even though I say for photography, I'm also do multimedia just in general. And so, like I said, for example, a recent project I had to do was to highlight, one of our tools for, I work for the Department of Commerce, right? And, one of the, organizations is the Bureau of Economic Analysis. And with that being said, one of the things that I can do is I can literally use a screen recording device. I use Camtasia personally, or that's what I prefer. And so what I can literally just screen record my screen and just, with the click of the cursor and opening up links here and there, I can literally just record a tutorial video and then just put like my voiceover with my ever so popular podcast mic here, and then job well done. So so it's mostly just multimedia. Of course, the photography side of things, that's really a no-go. I would maybe take like a professional portrait shot of new employees, for example, just entering the building or things of that nature, or any type of professional group shots for any of our groups, things of that nature. So the photography part of it is dead. It's more so screen recording and so forth.
Right.
Well, I've been writing down what you've been telling us, so I'm going to look up some of these things because I'm very interested, but I'm a brand new beginner.
Well, so that's why I look. I've been doing this for 4 years, and I'm still a beginner.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I look at it and go, wait a minute.
You mentioned Alexandra May, and I know it's just this guy's here, so I can tell you that I'm this close to falling in love with her. And if you if you can teach your chess, if Sasha, you teach your chess, then I'm head over heels.
Alexandra May is amazing. Okay, she's the lady out of South Africa that does Alexandra May's Musical Cafe. Okay, and what's amazing, she's only 24 years old, and she puts together this fantastic show every week on Sunday on IBM TV. She brings in some of the top artists, because I have to go look at them, because I don't know, do you know the top singers in South Africa? I don't, so I have to go to my Wikipedia and look at them going, wow, they all have Wikipedia pages. They're all famous people. And she brings them in every week. And then she brings them in from all over the world onto her show and manages the show like she's professional, and she's been doing this for years. I'm going, she's 24 bloody years old.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's not a typical girl.
No, I was going like I was very impressed. I was going like, wow, you can organize your show, you can get the guest on, you run it real smooth. I mean, and you're 24 years old. How the heck are you able to do that? Because what she does is just quite amazing, and she runs it on Sunday. But now it's being broadcast through a lot of different mediums. We're just fortunate to have her on IBM TV as well because you can what do they call it, multicast or whatever. In other words, it's just like what Alexander Starr's doing. It runs through Chess Stars. It also overlays through IBM TV.
Right.
So, so what happens, it runs through different channels right now. As a matter of fact, our show runs in Afghanistan right now on major television, which is one reason I go, well, I guess I got to show up because people in Afghanistan are watching. And I know Malaysia, they're watching, but, I was going like, okay, I guess I better show up.
Joe DiMaggio said, you never know when someone's going to watch you for the first time. So you want to show up and be
I guess
good.
so. Yeah. Well, the thing is, you also said you do a show on travel because I was talking to our friends in Malaysia about doing basically a show on Malaysia because for me, I don't know much about Malaysia. Now, Sasha does because he goes and plays chess tournaments over there. But RT, do you know a lot about Malaysia? By any chance?
I can't say that I do. But that is something I would be open to visiting and just experiencing the culture over there and just the whole environment. But at this time, no, I don't know a lot about Malaysia at this point.
Well, send your best friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the thing is, like Rick Steves puts on a show on Europe. So all the time there's Italy, there's Spain, there's Germany, all this other stuff. What about the rest of the world? There's no shows on the rest of the world. Okay, I mean seriously, it's just really bad. Malaysia is one of them. I go, I don't remember learning a lot about Malaysia when I was in school. And we're also having a show coming in from Laos, Nigeria. And a lot of people don't know about Laos, okay, because it was a trivia question. The largest city in Africa today. It used to be Cairo. Laos just took it over. It was the number one position.
Not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it either. I got it wrong. When it was a trivia question, I was going, everybody knows it's Cairo. They have 10 million people. Whack.
They would have got
and they
me.
go wrong. Well, the thing is, it just recently took, and it has a population of 100 million people. So with 100 million people and the largest city in Africa, it becomes a good demographic for us to do one of our shows. So one of them is going to be beaming in from Laos, Nigeria. The problem that we have in Africa is bandwidth, believe it or not, but we have it also even over here. Every now and then my bandwidth, and I'm on Google Fiber, will just go like this and I go, I didn't do anything. What's going on here? This is Google Fiber. It's supposed to be fast and good. But
Nick, I've got a phrase that I've coined, and I want to share it with you, and IBM TV can use it. It's we're one world, one family.
I like that.
I'm sorry, I took that from Ankit. That was Ankit.
Oh, that's what I thought. You took that from somewhere else.
When you know me better, Nick, you know that I steal other people's ideas.
Oh, you do steal it? Well, I noticed that. Okay, here's the other thing, RT. He was on Alexander's show. Okay, seriously. Then he spun off. Now he's got his own show. He does chess fitness. And I went and I showed up at his show because he had the former World Open chess champion, former U.S. champion Joel Benjamin on the show. Okay, and I'm a chess nut. I'm going like, you got a top player on your bloody show. How'd you do that? And then he had John Donaldson, who's an international master, who's also very famous. He got both of them on the show. I was going like, gosh, I got to beam in and make some inane comments and then beam back out. But I thought it was pretty impressive. So he's a spinoff. Alexander Starr's going, he deserted me. I go back to Moscow and take care of all this.
By the way, I've met John Donaldson 32 years ago in 1988 during the Chess Olympiad in Greece, in Saloniki.
He remembers you.
He was the captain of U.S. men's team or national team.
Right.
And that's where he fell in love with.
Really? With the person that ultimately married Georgia Orlov.
Yes,
exactly.
She passed away too.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, digging
she
up
passed
the past.
away a few years ago.
She passed away a few years ago.
Yeah,
right.
she was a fantastic player, Very
Right.
good
Okay. Yeah,
person.
that's right. There's a story behind this. Now I remember she eloped. She was a Russian. Okay. See, RT, you got to get what this Russian deal here, because
I
in
see.
chess is a big international community, so we all know each other, right? There's 600 million players, but basically they all know each other. But here was the story though, because Russia, where Sasha's from, used to be the old Soviet Union, and I met a lot of people who were going, say, they had a chance, they were out of there, baby, and they were moving to the United States or Canada like he is. And so what happened was at one of the Olympiads, John Donaldson, I remember that, had married this lady who was from Russia, and they both bolted out of the chess tournament to get married and leave. She wanted to leave the Soviet Union. So they're
Okay.
married for a while, and then she finds another chess player. And by the way, chess players, it's all about rating. Okay, who's higher
Right.
rated, and was from
Mhm.
Russia, and then she bolted, moved, and married him.
Yeah.
I'm dead seriously,
Wow.
and so she stayed married to Orlov for a long time, and Orlov was a top player. I think he was only an
played him
IM,
He's a very good player. Yeah.
but he was a good
Oh,
player.
listen,
He won the U.S. Open several times. He was in Seattle area, but there was a whole story behind it. And then John Donaldson, I think, was back. Is he in San Francisco, Jim, or where does he live?
Berkeley, actually, but
He lives in Berkeley. Same thing.
same
Yeah.
thing.
See, Jim's in the Silicon Valley area. That's a whole different country.
Yeah.
They really have nothing to do with the United States, but
But
they're
let's-
still part of it.
Southern
let's admit
California.
something.
What?
Let's admit something. Yelena Akhmelovskaya, she was in a position to choose. Neither of these guys was. She
Oh,
was.
right. Elena.
So she could choose whatever she thought the best for her, and that's
Okay.
what she did. That's what we call choice.
Gotcha, Scott.
She did the choice.
She was in the position.
He was running that ship.
Yeah, right.
He was
RT, how's your Russian anyway? How's your Russian?
Oh, my Russian is god awful. I can't speak any Russian. And matter of fact, I was going to ask both of you guys. The chess masters. They're like, like when did you know that you really had like a passion or fell in love with chess? Was it like love at first sight when it came to chess, or did you just grow into it after playing it after a while?
Well, I'll defer to Sasha.
I'll defer to Sasha. Deferences to
Thank
Sasha.
you,
So Sasha,
gentlemen.
you're up.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think I first learned how to play checkers.
Okay.
And then I was somewhere with my parents, and I saw chess set, and same board, but so many different pieces. And I like, what is that? I'd like to learn how to play that. They told me that it's too complicated, and I will never be able to learn it, at least for now, maybe in the next 3-4 years. But I've started slowly to see how other people play, and I started to try myself. And then finally, my father started really to teach me, because he just saw that I'm very interested to find out and learn the game. And soon enough, I started to beat him. And then he bought me some very, very good chess books. They're still considered one of the best books even today. One is Alokhin, My 300 Games. Another one is Bronstein, International Grandmasters Tournament, and there was a third one. The third one was Averbach Chess Endings. I studied these 3 books. That may answer your question, if you have one. What makes me so strong? These 3 books is one of the factors that makes me so strong. Then obviously curiosity, because I'm very curious, and I would like to not only play the games, but see games other grandmasters played or so on. And that's really how I got introduction to chess. And then finally, I married my wife, who was an international chess master, and she was 8 times Canadian chess champion and member of Canadian Olympic ladies team. However, when we met, she would beat me 10-0 or 9-1. So I figured out that I have to really improve my game, and very quickly, because she will leave me, and did the same thing what Anna Akhmelovskaya did. So in order to avoid that fate, I really started to study openings, which I didn't do that well at the time. So finally today, we are still playing every day. We play 10 blitz games. And today is about score equal, about 5-5. Sometimes I lose 6-4, but it's about equal game. So that makes our life is very interesting. When we're going on holidays, for example, to Aruba, we play every day 30 blitz games, not 10, but 30. And you see, what's interesting about chess is that we played overall in our life probably 25,000 games. So we know each other so well. But each game, although they start from the same position, very soon, after 5, 6, 8 moves, the different positions are appearing, and some positions are originals that you've never seen in your life. And that what's it's so exciting and so interesting.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I keep forgetting that RT, that you're a professional, how you say it, interviewer, right?
Right.
Okay, that you know how to interview people. Okay, so we're going to let you take over and
Yeah,
take over
you
and
could lose your job,
doing
Nick.
the interview.
Sorry. You're the
That's okay. It's RT's show now.
Oh,
Well, RT, I'll answer your question.
thank you.
And I was the same way with Sasha. I played checkers first, and then I was taught chess by my dad. And I had two brothers, one older and one younger. And I just was good at checkers. I was good at chess, and they stopped playing any board game with me. They didn't want to play against me, or if they did play, they were ganged up against me because it just had a natural inclination to figure out what the rules of the game were and apply them. But I really got started when Bobby Fischer challenged Boris Spassky for the World Championship in 1972. There was tremendous amount of passion in the United States, and tremendous amount of passion was unknown previously. We just never had chess as part of American society. So all of us started to play chess again, or it was in front page of the New York Times, and it was just all over the place. You couldn't look at a paper and not see something about chess. It was amazing. So, and at the same time, I had a skiing injury, and so I was kind of hobbled, and all I could do is sit at my desk and play over chess games. And some of the same books that Sasha mentioned were an integral part of my getting better. And then it's self-reinforcing. Once you go out, and then I went out and played against other players, and I started to have success. And then I wanted to study more, and then get more success. And then I would go to, I grew up in New England, and I was very good, the best high school player in all of New England. And so I had to go to New York City to see if I was as good as I thought I was. And it turned out I wasn't. There were guys in New York City my age that were better than me, and it was a shock. It was a total shock. But it's been a lifelong passion. And I think if you give the gift of chess to a child, you give a gift that lasts a lifetime, because it's helpful for them. It's sitting still and thinking is required for chess, and that's directly transferable back into the classroom. And if they think they can play chess, they think they must be smart. I don't tell them that, but they think it. For some reason, they think they must be smart. That confidence is directly transferable back into the classroom. And it's a pleasurable pastime as adults. You can see people playing chess at a coffee shop, and then the classic picture in America of two chess players is old men in the park playing, because it's a solace in old age. You're not thinking about your doctor's appointment or the bills that you have to pay. You're just absorbed in the game of chess, and everything else does not matter. So it's a gift that lasts a lifetime.
Oh yeah, I definitely totally agree. I mean, I remember, I want to say middle school, my father taught me how to play chess, and after I learned like the basics of chess and things of that nature, my father would beat up on me all the time, and then the more I played, I started to beat him, and I grew that confidence. And but just I don't know, maybe I don't even use that as an excuse. I just know, for whatever reason, I just didn't stick with it. I was more of a video game kid, so but I regret that, because I did really enjoy chess, and like I would play other people. I joined the chess club like at my school and so forth, and like I probably played it up until college, and then I would play, but that's about it. But
that's where we lose the majority of chess players. They go to college, and then they get studies or and then jobs and careers and things like that, and they get out of the chess world. So that story that you just told is the dominant story in the United States.
Pretty common, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But this is, I mean, I was actually surprised, pleasantly surprised just to have this opportunity to be on IBM TV. Yeah, like I said, we're just starting our podcast, and me and my friend, we're just like brainstorming in the sense of, hey man, how can we try to get our name out there and so forth, and and then I saw an opportunity from IBM TV, and like just from learning your backgrounds and things of that nature, like I'm kind of starstruck, like I'm just shooting the breeze with two chess masters, so I found that to be a pretty amazing opportunity.
Well, thank you, RT. And I'm learning a lot from you, too. And you've kind of ignited this passion of mine. I've ordered digital video for dummies.
Okay.
Videos for dummies. Did you write that, RT?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's why I probably need the chess with dummies to just to get the rust off. Because, like I said, I really haven't been playing that competitive a level, like you said, since college. I fell off like that common story.
Yeah. No, it is. It's very true. And Nick, you probably played right through college, and then when you started to go to law school, it was more pressure.
Yeah, actually, I got started. My dad showed me when I was a kid how to play. Okay, but then you just kind of know the rules. But didn't really start playing till I was in high school, which you find out now kids play in elementary school. Back then, the myth was RT. You couldn't learn it in elementary school. I'm serious. It was a myth.
Nick is fulfilling. He's had a self-fulfilling prophecy of technical difficulties. He talked to us about how, even though he's on Google 5G, technical glitches, and that knocked me off my very first show. I got knocked off. So we cannot.
Did you get knocked off on technical glitches? It's bandwidth issues. But what happened is I wanted to be part. I wanted to be part of this club. It was called the Interclub Council. Okay. And to be part of it, you had to be head of some sort of game thing. And my brother was head of the math club. So I was going, well, why don't we do a chess club? It was just like that. In other words, there was no rhyme or reason. And so what we did is we set up boards. We played after school. We played during school, which the teachers hated. But the thing is, math class would be playing chess at the back. But what happened is, see, I knew nothing about it, that I found there was other high schools that people actually played. And I thought, would it be neat to form a tournament? So I got on the horn with one of these other schools, Robinson and Plant in Tampa, and we did our first chess tournament. And they knew all about it because the Robinson kids were way ahead of us. And they showed you how you line up the boards. Everybody plays against each other, blah, blah, blah. And we had a good time doing it. And then we found other high schools that played. So we started doing matches on other high schools. But we actually got good real quick. We were just lucky playing a lot. And we won the county tournament the first year that we played in. There's nothing sweeter than success. If you get lucky early on or you get good early on, all of a sudden, wow, that's great. Not realizing it could have been the complete opposite result. Okay, it's just sometimes you're just lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. But then we heard about their state. There's a state tournament. It's almost like you're discovering new things. It's just like, hey, there's podcasting. Oh, there's international podcasting. There's IBM TV. I mean, you just learn things as you go along. And so we played in state, and we thought, we're the county champions. We're going to do well at state. And we got crushed. Okay, seriously. Okay, in other words, you're going to get your setback, baby. Okay, in other words, the team from Ormond Beach went like this, and down we went. And so undeterred, we went to Southern in Atlanta. We were in Tampa, Florida. After losing state, we said, well, let's go play another one. Let's go play in the Southern. Now, we can't win the state. How do we win the Southern? We just went up there and we won it. And I was going like, wow, we actually won the Southern Championship. I didn't think we would be that good. And so then we found out there's a national championship in New York City. Okay. We go to nationals. Bang, we got crushed. Okay, no, it was like it's almost like you go to the national level, you don't know how to play. You just learn that. But undeterred, we started up again the following year. In other words, you just keep going back, and we won the state that year. Then we won the we won the Southern again, but then we got crushed again at Nationals. And here's what I discovered, RT. As you move up the food chain, it gets tougher. I mean, when you go to Nationals, all of a sudden, like Jim said, I went down to New York City. These guys are good, okay? And they just crush you, and you go like, okay. Well, I did that until I was a senior. And my best showing, I was like number 10 in the country in my senior year of high school. Went to college and started playing college chess. Same thing. We were doing good in the state. You go to Nationals, we got crushed. I was going, this isn't working for me. After a couple of years, I said, every time we go to the National Intercollegiates, we get crushed. So I created what they called chess scholarships. I was the guy who created it back in 1977. And I got the University of South Florida to offer chess scholarships, the first ever in the country. And we recruited two players, Larry Christensen, which Alexander Starr and Jim knows. Okay, Larry's been to my house in Tampa, and Ron Henley, who these guys both became grandmasters. I recruited them to play for the University of South Florida as I demoted myself down to fourth board. I was down on fourth, and they were on first and second, and another master, Frank Murphy, is on third, who came from USF. And lo and behold, we win the Pan American Intercollegiate Championship, 8-0. We win. Yay. There you go. There you go. And then I was going, you know what? That's the ringer theory. Okay. If you can't win the game, find the guy who can win the game and put him on your team. Okay. In other words, then you win the game. Okay.
We're joined by Mark Lee. My brother, Mark, you are also interested in chess, but the show is about podcasts. So maybe you can relate to our team.
Yeah, maybe we should get off this chess kick and go to podcasting. Because Mark is a professional podcaster, and he's been in radio for like decades where we're fumbling our way around. And Mark knows, and we're just going, where are we going to go? So, and Mark's from North Carolina, so he lives close to where we're at.
Nice.
We got together.
Yeah,
so
right here in Durham, North Carolina. But I was actually going to share something with you, Nick. It's along those same lines. You're talking about recruiting folks. Many moons ago, I'm late 50s now. We'll turn 58 on July 1st. But at the time that I was a teenager, I actually was running track. So I ran track and field around the same time that I learned chess. But I ran track and field in junior high, 1 year of junior high and 3 years of high school. I was horrible at track. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was horrible. I couldn't win a race to save my life. I actually got smart and recruited somebody that I could beat. So it was on that line of ringer theory that you were talking about.
Ringer theory,
so
yes.
I recruited all the guys from our basketball team, our football team, things of that nature. And we actually won our conference championship 3 out of the 4 years that I was there in the team, because I was smart enough to recruit folks that could win while I was killed in the race. So like I said, I was so good. And I actually personally blame myself for us losing that last year, because I got tired of getting killed. You hear me, RT? I got tired of us getting killed. So I went and recruited a buddy of mine who was, I've got a little weight on me now, but he was definitely a lot heavier than I was at that time, and was, kind of a fudgy kid. He's passed on and everything, but I recruited him because I knew I could beat him. So I recruited somebody that I knew I could beat. I think we lost by a point or two because we didn't have anybody that could do the pole vault or something like that. So we lost because I decided to recruit somebody that I knew I could beat. So.
Right. Recruiting is, hey, listen, recruiting is where it's at. We were playing, because I like to play trivia too. So we're playing in a trivia contest in Bellingham, Washington, which is north of Seattle. Okay. And every year we'd go play, we got crushed. In other words, I bring my trivia team together, we got crushed. So I recruited this guy called Ken Jennings. You probably don't know who he is, but if you're into trivia, he's the all-time Jeopardy champion, like no kidding. He's won 75 games in a row. So Ken was coming back from California up to Seattle. So I gave him a call. Hey, Ken, can you come play on our team? And he go, they're always like, I don't know. Then all of a sudden, I know he's addicted. It's like if you said, I got a chess game coming up and there's a chess player, they're going to show up because they're addicted. So he finally came up. And of course, with the ringer theory, we win the tournament again. Ding. So the thing is, the ringer theory actually works. If you're bad at a sport, hey, no problem. Go find the guy who's good, get him on your team, and then you're good at the sport.
It works every time. Works totally.
It works every time. Yeah.
Mark, Alexander, I know we're on Podcast Thursday, but I do got a question for y'all.
Yeah.
How do y'all deal with the checker players? Because, like I said, that's what we have over here. Every time I go, well, I've not been recently, but I know when I used to go to McDonald's, I would always run into the checker players that are over there playing. Don't see enough of the guys playing chess out and about in North Carolina in our little spaces like the coffee shops and the McDonald's and some of the fast foods. But I do see the checker players out there. So I'm trying to figure out how we can get this mass movement in our public spaces of folks playing in chess instead of checkers. Because, like I said, I think that there needs to be a mass movement of chess players and not just checker players. But I don't see the backgammon guys. I used to see some backgammon guys every once in a while, but right now it looks like it's the checker guys.
I see dominoes. People playing dominoes.
Dominoes is very popular in Miami. I mean, it's like big time. In order to go there, they play dominoes, and then mahjong. I don't even know how to play mahjong, but I've seen that played in a lot of places also as well. When you go to Japan, they play Go, and apparently that's a real complicated game, but I don't even know how to play it. But they're all just complicated games. I think
it's a hard thing for me because if I go to a coffee shop and I set up a chessboard and someone wants to play me, I feel a little bad because, I'm a chess master and they think they're good. And then I crush their egos. So I don't do it anymore. And it's a very difficult thing, and I'm not the kind of guy that's going to throw a game just so you feel good. And so, the problem is the ego is so involved in chess. And maybe with dominoes and something like that, the ego is not, of course the ego is still involved. You want to win. But, in chess, it's especially intense. And Sasha can speak to this more than I can. But
Jim, the ego's involved in everything.
Yes, I agree.
I've story before on the show before, and I'll share it with you now since you're here with me, RT. But I remember I played Words with Friends, and I haven't played it in a couple of days now. But, it's basically Scrabble online.
All right.
And I think I've got I'm a journalism background, went to journalism school at Marquette. So I think I've got a decent vocabulary, maybe not a great vocabulary, but a decent one. And I was getting my ass kicked on a couple of folks. And some of them I understood. Some of them made sense to me, I could get it. You've worked as an editor, for 20 years, you're 70 years old, and, you got a much bigger vocabulary than I do. I get it. But there was this 23-year-old that was routinely kicking my ass. I mean, she was like beating me left and right. And I'm sitting there going like, she's, if I had kids, and I don't have any kids of my own, I've got nephews. If I had kids, she'd be young enough to be my daughter. I'm like, how is this kid beating me? She's a kid. She's 23 years old, and she's from New Zealand. And, she showed me some pictures. Pretty tan young lady, got her beach outfit on. I'm like, not only is she kicking my ass, she's a beautiful woman kicking my ass. So I have this dialogue with her because I'm like, that's the kind of guy I am. Nick knows that. I like to meet people, like to talk to them, get to know them. So I'm having this conversation with her, and I'm like, all right, I need to know what's going on. You're really like a 60-year-old woman in New Zealand. You're just throwing up some pictures of some pretty young thing to make me think that everything's going on. She's like, nope, that's actually me. I'm actually 23, 24. I'm like, well, how come you're like kicking my ass? I've worked in a couple of newspapers. She pauses. She tells me, she says, I think she went and got real proper with me. She's like, Mr. Lee, I hate to tell you this, but I am the crosswords editor for the New Zealand newspaper. So
a ringer! You got hit with the ringer, Mark.
She was a ringer.
Yeah. See, that's a problem.
She suckered me in. So, RT, I got a quick question for you, and it comes back to our competition.
Sure.
I went to Marquette, like I said. That's the school I went to in Milwaukee. But my brother went to North Carolina Central University and things of that nature. And I know that some of the HBCUs, and I don't know whether you went to an HBCU.
I did, actually.
What we call, PWI, predominantly white institution. But wherever you went to school, I know in our school, there was the folks who were playing spades. They were playing those kind of games.
Yeah.
Was that the case? Did you go to school and were you like the bid whiz champion? Or were you like the spades champion?
Well, I went to HBCU. I went to Morgan State University out there in Baltimore, Maryland. Graduated 2005. And it might sound blasphemous, but first to answer your question, I definitely played spades, and not the bid whist, but spades. But it might sound blasphemous, but I really, I have a bad experience with spades. I'm not the best spades player in the world. So with that being said, not as big of a fan as I used to be, because I used to just get ran out of town every time I played spades. I was the guy that you didn't want as your partner because, at least growing up, playing spades, I just had the mindset of I just need to make sure that, that I have, that I do my part. I didn't necessarily have that type of trust of like, hey, I hope my partner can, hold his own with his hand or things of that nature. But yeah.
Hey, Nick, I hate to tell you this, and we talked about different things on this show. We talked about everything from politics to Black Lives Matter to everything, not just on podcast, but on the IBM TV and everything. We've had Zach. We talked about a variety of issues and everything. And I have a friend that accuses me of the same thing that I'm going to tell RT about.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think that RT just lost his black card because you're supposed to be able to play spades and everything, but I think he just lost his black card.
Yeah, I mean, I could play. I'm just horrible at it, so yeah, man.
But we played hearts.
Yeah,
in my white institution.
I played spades. I also played hearts, but spades was really popular. There was a place called at University of South Florida, the UC Basement back then. They eliminated it since then, but that's where all the gamers hung out. The pool players, the table tennis players, the spades players, the chess players, the backgammon players. So what happens is right between classes, guess what we do? We went to the UC Basement and you hung out in the UC Basement and you played games. The sad part, there's some of my friends that were really good. They hung out and they played the games. Class would start. They would be still playing the games.
Yeah.
They missed their classes and they all failed out of school. I'm not kidding. These guys were really bright.
PhD.
Yeah,
he's working on his PhD now. But my younger brother actually went on the 25-year plan for getting his undergraduate, his first degree.
25-year plan.
He was on that 25-year plan.
I know some people like that, right?
A student center, and he practically lived in that student center with some of his friends. So, like I said, they were over there playing, and like you said, it wasn't in the basement; it was actually on a main street level. But they were playing backgammon, they were playing checkers, they were playing pool, they were playing all kinds of things. So there was some serious distractions going on. And sometimes those distractions were even out of the area.
I thought that's the reason the university existed, is because the student center. So you go play all those games and do all that stuff. But the only difference I was between the other students, I actually stopped when my class started and left and went to go to class. But I will tell you, I can name lots of them. They didn't do it. And I was going, how are they going to pass? And I found out later on they didn't. Yeah. Some of them convinced their parents that they were still in school, but they weren't. They had already failed out because they never went to class.
But they could have done. They were
Mark, I would like to do one observation. You were throwing together all kinds of games like chess and checkers and backgammon and Scrabble and who knows what. But let me tell you that there is a huge difference between backgammon and all other games. Backgammon cannot be played without wagering. And the way we discussed that, when Anatoly Karpov was in my house and I had to take him to the airport after this St. John World Chess Festival, we played backgammon. Karpov never plays for money. And when we started to discuss how we're going to play, and I asked him how much is the point, he said, I'm not playing for money. I said, son, we shouldn't play backgammon. Let's play another game. He said, why not backgammon? I said, because backgammon does not exist without doubling cube. Right. And if you don't play for money, the doubling cube has no meaning whatsoever. You will accept double in any position, and you will offer double in any position. So that's not the game. So you're right. Let's play $5 a point. And we played, and the score was 4-4 after 8 games. And then I lost last game because I had to take him to the airport. So not that I gave it up. I just felt that if we will play a serious game, we will not play it. So I sort of played and then let it go.
And Anatoly Karpov was the world chess champion in the 1970s. So he was quite a chess player. But I also found out that chess and backgammon players, because one of the person at the UC basement where we played became the world backgammon champion, Drew Giovannis. In other words, they have ratings just like chess, and they're kind of funny. It's a world unto itself. And he lives in Las Vegas now because he goes, well, here I can play backgammon. All the backgammon tournaments are there. Another guy became the world foosball champion. So I got to play foosball with a guy who became world foosball. It's called table soccer.
Right.
Okay. And we used to go all these dive bars and just play table soccer because they had, had foosball for money and
But Nick,
table
did
soccer.
you know that there's
Really
a
good
chess,
talent.
there are chess podcasts, chess podcasts?
Really? Besides
Yeah.
ours?
And one I could recommend is Ladies Night with Jen Shahad. Jen Shahad is a former U.S. women's champion and a great player. She's also a master poker player. So she combines her analytical ability in both poker and chess. But Ladies Night is her podcast, and it's worth checking out. She's, a big advocate of women in chess, and as Sasha knows, this has been a problem for us.
Yes,
Look,
I met her a couple of years ago in
Yes, and I might
Toronto.
have
The reason that she came
as
to
well. But the
Toronto
question
was
for you, Jim, is this: we're gonna have this whole concept of like the you mentioned that she's also plays poker.
Yes.
And I used to watch this late night poker show that would come on very late, but most people watch it just because of the, for lack of a better term, the wrestling girl that would kind of like come along and pose around the wrestler. So I think that we might need that for the chess as well, because it would give you like a little bit of the eye candy going on. But it came on very late, and she would
Jen
kind
could
of like
pull that
parade
off,
around
believe me.
and comment on the game.
But she would not. She's very much a feminist, and although she would be able to be the eye candy, she would not be interested in that.
So, good morning.
Good morning, Lynn.
Morning.
Good morning, Lynn. How you doing? It's our guy with the
Doing
dollars.
great.
I still have not made my second order. I got to get my
Wow.
second order. I think I'll do that today and everything, because the first order is already pretty much used up. But I got to get that
Good.
second order
Good.
out, so I'm gonna do that this weekend. Nick, before we get to Lynn, I got a question for you. It actually ties into Lynn because he may have some games that we need. We're talking games, Lynn.
I
did you
was
ever play
listening.
cribbage? Because that's the game that I could never really figure out was cribbage. It looked very complicated. I had some relatives that were into it, aunts and stuff, great aunts, and it just looked like a very weird game that I could never figure out. But I'm aware of it, but I don't understand the rules.
I've never played cribbage, so I
Jim
don't know.
Jim will know this. 15-2, 15-4 in the right, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but nobody has mentioned at this moment. I was an engineering student at Lehigh, and after my first semester and a half, almost into my second, well, I guess semester and a half, I changed my major to bridge and beer. Because I was sitting backstage listening to what everybody was saying, and literally when we went to class, and ultimately after almost flunking out, I figured it out and I knew I had to go to class. But before that, literally we would rush to the fraternity house, and we had three tables of bridge going on literally all the time. You would leave the cards on the table, you would go to lunch, you would come back, you would play, somebody would get up and go to a class. And sometimes when they had a really good hand, they just simply shrugged their shoulders and said, I'm going to play the hand and not go to class. But it's interesting today, you never hear anybody talk about bridge. And bridge was an enormously popular sport. And of course, you all know that I graduated from college about 15 or 20 years ago. So I can't figure out how in that period of time, nobody can think of and talk about bridge.
Well, go to any
still out there. I've got a aunt. Look, I got a little aunt right here in Durham. She plays bridge. She goes to bridge competitions. They got like little bridges. They meet each other at their houses and have bridge matches and everything. So it's still a game that is played around and everything. As folks have gotten older, they don't play as much, but they try to play on a pretty consistent basis. But I can relate to what you're saying, Lynn, because you got to remember, I said that I went to Marquette, which is in Milwaukee, which means, and it's a Jesuit school. which means we basically had three majors. You had whatever you majored in my case, journalism. You had the minor / major because you had to have a certain amount of religious / philosophy courses because it's a Jesuit university. So that became your second major. And it's a beer town, so you majored in beer.
Well, if yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but back in the 60s, and I have some good friends from Wisconsin. Back in the 60s, Esquire and then Playboy in two different years ranked the top drinking schools in the country. And at the bottom, there was an asterisk, and the asterisk basically said, we apologize to the students of Lehigh and Wisconsin, but we felt it was improper to rank professionals with a group of amateurs. and that actually appeared 2 years in a row. So anyway, but I guess we're talking about the dollar store, aren't we?
Yes,
So,
Family Dollar store.
Yes. So anyway, I own an online dollar store. We're big supporters of IBM TV through Money Masters PBS, which is the not-for-profit that owns IBM TV. We're giving half of our profit because we love the mission of trying to cut the gap between poverty and financial sustainability. We love the opportunity that people have through Money Masters PBS, and that's why it got the name Money Masters, of learning financial fitness and financial sustainability. So what is the online dollar store? Company's 24 years old, was operating with brick and mortar stores around the world, and decided in the United States that the way we would go to market would be through online rather than, because the population was buying online and buying lower priced items. So we have 4,000 items. We ship right to your door, except if you happen to live where I live, and then you have no postal delivery here. But I live in a small town so we go to the post office, but we get the stuff delivered to the post office. Delivery is free for purchases over $25. We have a rewards program. So if you sign up to become a customer, as Jim, Nick, and Mark have, when you do that, you basically get an immediate reward of $5 towards your first purchase. We only, right at the moment, are an online store for the U.S. because it's too expensive to ship overseas. But through IBM TV and Money Masters, we've been having the conversations about opening online stores in India and prospectively to some of the other countries. So it's coming. It will take a while. We know there's some hurdles to get there, but they will get there. Some of the products that we have, and Jim knows this because to play Sasha in chess, Jim needs to have what he's holding up and what I'm holding up. These are CBD patches that have lidocaine in them. Jim puts them on his head because of the pain that he knows he's going to endure to play Sasha in chess. I've suggested that he put them on his arm because moving those chess pieces around can be very stressful.
They're very heavy.
They're very heavy on the arms. I put them on my back because my wife and I are gardeners, and so I do. And I've had a disc problem in my back for almost 40 years. So anyway, but we have. If Kimberly were here today, she would talk about the thing that's sacred to her heart, and that is the Minion napkins. And anything Minion. So we have lots of stuff. We have dust masks. We have some wipes that you can use that have disinfectants in them. We have stuff for kids. Oh, there they come, the Minions.
Oh, nice.
All right.
That's super dope. I like it.
Yeah. So 4,000 items, it seems almost inconceivable that you can't find what you want. If you're following the what people ask you to do for, and look at that, Johnson and Johnson, Fisher Price, I mean, name brands. But if you're following what they're telling you to do for the CBD, I mean, for the COVID rather, virus, when you wash your hands, one thing you should do is use Dove soap. And Dove soap is actually suds extremely well. We have that on the site. So, and they're the disposable masks. I love Dove soap, so we use that. And we don't have Dawn dish soap, but I will tell you that if you get on Friday and you talk to Dr. Yu, he will tell you that the two things that you should use are Dove soap and Dawn dish soap. So anyway, there are lots of things there. Just go on, become a customer. Just sign up to become a customer. Get a $5 discount. That's all you have to do to get the discount. And then when you shop, you can apply the discount. But every time you buy, you get a discount for every dollar's worth of purchase. And for every $10, it's $1 of future discounts that you can apply to your next purchase. So if you go on, you shop, you buy $25, you apply your discount, it really is only going to cost you $20, but you still get free shipping because you purchase $25, and because you purchase $25, you get another $2.50 worth of discounts to apply the next time. So go to the green button on the IBM.TV website. If you're colorblind like my father was, they make it easy for you because they make it round. So hit the round button, and it says Shop Dollar Store right in the button. So there you go, shop the dollar store.
Sounds great. Hey,
there you go.
One question for you: do we have any games yet? Because we were talking games earlier, and I need to know whether we got some games. And I've got a suggestion for you. I think the gym needs to create a dollar store version of chess so that we can put that online. So, Jim, I'm recruiting you to create your own dollar store chess set.
Ooh,
I'm working with a lot of
Kimberly's here.
developers on chess apps and variants, and that might be the next variant. So I'm writing it down.
I've been here, and I just want to thank you, Lynn, for your big heart and wanting to close the gap between poverty and sustainability, because I truly believe that is the biggest problem. We all think it's other things, but I think if we provide education and show people how to become sustainable, we become smarter and we become stronger as a community of just everyone. And all of this, again, is thankful to people like Lynn and his family who donate to making sure that we can offer this. Again, this is IBM TV. We are smart and we're free, and we're not charging for this, and we're global. So thank you, Lynn. I also want to thank all of you who've been purchasing the items, like Mark and Jim, and promoting everything, because what's not smart about saving money? Come on, let's think about it, right? And think about this. You're saving money many different ways. You're not driving gas, your gas, your time. My time, anytime I go anywhere, I add up how much time am I wasting on something that I could have been doing something profitable. So time is very valuable. So I sit there and I add up the time that I save by shopping online, and it's delivered to you. And if you purchase $25 worth of items, which if you just purchase the mask, which is a great deal, by the way, I know this because we have a company that sells them wholesale, and I think this is a better price than wholesale. But if you purchase $25, it's free shipping, and you earn bonus dollars. So it's a win-win-win for everyone, not just for us, not just for Lynn or his family who are investors in the dollar store. It is a win for everyone in savings. It's got some of my favorite cosmetic products that I learned I was purchasing over the counter at the cosmetic counter for $20. It's $2 here. Another one that is on Amazon for $60. It's $2 here. Same product, same size.
Hey, Kimberly, I want to ask you a question. I know Mark knows the answer to this, but what do you think of all the things I like about the Family Dollar Store? What do you think is my favorite?
The CBD patch.
It's the fact that I don't have to leave my house.
There you go. There
Oh,
you go.
God. And I thought it was the CBD patch.
Well, that's a close second. Yeah.
Well, here's something else a lot of people don't know is a lot of the doctors and companies that went out to sell CBD products, the financial trade industry bans them from selling the product. And the dollar store figured out how to do this, and it's legal. So they're very smart on top of it. But they're very dedicated to not just items that they think should sell or can sell for a good price. They're dedicated to making sure we have products we need, because the minute toilet paper became a necessity, and I'm talking about a real necessity, they got it on their site. Masks, boom. And you can't, again, you're not going to get these masks for this cheap anywhere else. They're $5 for one in a little bitty package.
I can attest.
In a package, $5. And here, I think it's 30 for 25.
No, 50 masks for $30.
50 masks for it's $25. You got it marked down. I don't know if you noticed that, but
Did we not?
Yeah, it's marked down. I'm sitting here going, now's the time to buy, folks.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
Sorry.
You're even better than you thought, Lynn.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the site today, so
because
I didn't know that.
Products, come on, after a while, there's just only so many things you can keep up with, and that's why you should go down and take a look at their closeouts. Their what's hot on the market. Let's see, there they are, $25, folks.
Wow.
You can't beat
there
that.
You go. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. I think I owe myself a discount payback because I bought them for $30 for myself. So.
But here's the
RT,
thing.
have you ever bought anything online?
Oh yeah, all the time. If not me, then my wife. I bought a lot of camera equipment, microphone equipment. And between my wife and my daughter, there's always something from Amazon, I swear, that comes to the door every other day. So
that's what we do now. We shop online. So, check out the dollar store, because it might be something else that you get delivered to your door. You just open the door and there it is. And I don't like to go out and shop. I'm not the kind of guy that
I'm
likes to browse around and look at things and pick things up and see what they're like. I just want to see it on the screen and order it.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Jim. Like, if I can help it, I try to avoid, even before the pandemic, I just don't like to shop as well. Like, if I have to go to the mall for anything, maybe to buy a gift for the wife or something, I prefer to go on the weekdays instead of the weekends because of how crowded it used to be. So I'm like you, Jim. If I can avoid a lot of shopping, and I'm doing that. So I'm gonna definitely check out the website and do that instead of making the Family Dollar run. So I'm fine with that.
It's just, there's just so, and it keeps growing, and the items keep growing, but it's also just about saving time. Like you said, I'm not crazy about shopping either. And in fact, I get something in my mind that I want, I go out and look for it, can't find it, or can't find it in quality, and I end up hiring somebody to make it for me. So it never, I even have my own clothes made for me sometimes. So because I don't like to shop. I get out there, the clothes don't fit right. It's literally cheaper for me to get my clothes made, because the girl was altering my clothes for me all the time. Because no matter what I bought, it had to be altered, because I'm just a small body person. And no matter, even if I bought small clothes, it just didn't fit right. So she said, for the price you paid for this, I know what you like. I could just make it for you. And you don't have to have it altered. Right. And I'm like, wow.
Exactly.
And I like to encourage other people to do that, because that's a small business in my community that the person's now making a little bit of extra money, right? And she's happy, I'm happy, and so and I'm getting good quality clothes. But the dollar store has good quality items that I like to go purchase anyway. So
Kimberly, does she do t-shirts? Does she do t-shirts like the one you're wearing?
I know. So I got this at a conference. I'm supporting my buddies in Miami of the startup community, Startup Safari. They are just, they never stop. I don't think they sleep. down there in Miami, but these guys are pushing the startup community. They are so minority driven to help minorities, which is how I met them. I was on a tour speaking with Google for minority entrepreneurs and how can we get you up and going. And that's what they're doing ever since that speaking tour, 2018, I think it was. They have just been nonstop. They were already there, but sometimes it just takes a little spark to make something really grow, right? So they were already there doing a lot anyway. But now, I mean, good gracious, we were everywhere at the Super Bowl. We were everywhere before the Super Bowl for events. I mean, so great group of people down there. If you ever want to have them on your business podcast,
okay,
just to help promote. They do a lot of work with NASA. There's a program at NASA a lot of people don't know about. I'm going to try to get Mike Lester back on. He's from NASA, head of the patent office. And the patent office will let the general public come in and use their patents for business.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Look at that look. Wow. I mean, what better item to say, you know, I have an idea, and then you go look and you see that it's already patented, right? And they own so many patents that aren't being used. So they said, well, let's open it up for the public and we'll work with them. It can't be 100% free, but you know, now I come out and I go, I have this idea, and guess what? It's patented by NASA.
Yeah.
Wow, right? And I'm going to make it work. Now you got investors going, wow, she's got an idea that NASA's going to let her run with. I mean, the credibility all behind it is, you know, just, it's great. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So, RT, what is your podcast about and everything? I missed the part where you were on earlier with Nick, so I'm trying to figure out like exactly where you are and what the podcast is about. So, and I can tell you about mine as well. Okay. And then I know Kim was really enthralled by your paintings, as was I. And I think we both want to do a sip and paint party. But definitely tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, Well, I'm from we're from the Bowie, Maryland area. My co-host lives in Stafford, Virginia. And the podcast, Adventures with Pictures, we do an episode every Friday, and every episode we cover one of the 4 topics, and the 4 topics that we discuss are travel, photography, or videography, filmmaking, or whatever. And then the other 2 topics is our entrepreneurship and investing. I guess like the format of the show, we always kick off the episodes with discussing a country or a city that either I visited or my co-host Preston visited. And so we'll talk about that for like the first 20 to 30 minutes, the pros and cons of that place we went. What are the things that we did over there? What did we like about it? What are some of the barriers and challenges and so forth? And then after we discuss where we traveled, then we jump into whatever that main topic is. Like if the topic is about photography, we could talk about, why do you think photography is so important when it comes to getting your story across, or just whatever the case is. So that's the format. We always talk about a city we've been to, and then the main topic, covers one of those, areas, finance, entrepreneurship, photography.
Oh, cool. Sounds like a really good show and everything. So it definitely sounds like y'all have been doing it for a while. How long have you been doing the show for?
Truth be told, probably roughly a little over a month and a half. Okay. Yeah, I was telling Kimberly earlier that, my best friend, he's been my best friend for roughly 20 years. He just called me one day and was like, hey, man, I would love to start a podcast. You're so knowledgeable when it comes to like some of the multimedia stuff. I like to travel. Now, how about we just discuss those 2 things? And we both have a mutual interest when it comes to investments and entrepreneurship. So he was like, how about we just talk about it? And our main mindset just became, you know what? That's a good idea. Why not us? You see so many people, just going out there and just giving it their best shot. Why not? Let's just try it out. But what's your podcast about?
The podcast is called Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. It airs on Blog Talk and several of the other platforms. It's from 7 to 9. Our primary focus is creatives, activists, entrepreneurs, educators, and then lately we've been doing some stuff with health as well. But that's kind of the primary focus is where we're looking at. So we have a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Me and Dean, the guy that I do the show with, he's in New Jersey. I'm in North Carolina. So for the first few minutes, we'll talk about what's going on in the world, and then from that we'll go into a conversation. Yes, so in that particular platform, it's a round table kind of platform. So we'll have anywhere from 3 to 5 guests, and I'll bring each one in individually, and then we'll have a round table discussion. And then because of that, and being on this show, Podcast Thursday, just met Kim and Nick and everybody, and they were like liking my style, liking my interviewing style and things of that nature. And they approached me about doing a show right here. So we have the radio show with Mark Lee. So we do that on the same day on Monday as well. So I actually have 2 podcasts on the same day, but that's done more in this StreamYard kind of process. And that is usually 1 or 2 guests. And a lot of that is around creativity and entrepreneurs and things along that line. So it's less of the activists on that one, but definitely some great conversations. Had a comedian from Pakistan on the last edition earlier this week, and she was hilarious, as was the filmmaker Maya Table, who is a local filmmaker and a longtime friend of mine, Brevin Hamden, who is a musician in the area and has played for a number of years. His dad is actually used to play with Luther Vandross. So they were this past Monday. Already have a cooking show lined up, so Kim can watch that. We're going to have a healthy cooking show lined up, not for this coming Monday, but the following Monday. So that would be the 22nd, I believe that is, if I remember my dates correctly and everything. So we'll have some friends of mine that are into healthy cooking and into things along that line, as well as a yoga expert, just a friend of hers. They'll be doing a whole cooking yoga demonstration, and I've got some other entertainment types that'll be on the one this coming Monday. So like I said, that's kind of the way the show goes on with the radio show with Mark Lee. So definitely have to give Kim a big shout out for letting me do that show. And like I said, she let me get on there and do my interviews and everything, and they've even let me be self-producing. So like I said, I have Ankit as my backup, but they realized that I have this years of skills, so they let me kind of like go ahead and do it on my own, and I love that. And I brought them another show, my friend Zach, who's got the funk show going on as well.
And Out and About, he's doing two shows called Out and About.
Okay.
Yeah, so we what we like to do is inspire people who have a passion for what they're sharing with the world and educating the world to come join us, right? Because one of the biggest things you need is distribution, and we offer a global distribution, especially, and we're growing every day, and we're actually working with China to share content with China. India, 1.3 billion viewers. Ankit is from India. The majority of our shows are coming out of India. Our viewers are coming out of India. But South Africa, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how much we've grown there. So, and Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria is starting a show with us. So we offer an opportunity, a platform that has a credible name to it for people to come and share smart, intelligent conversations. And it, like it says, in many ways, I don't like using this word, but and I'm not going to. We are trying to reach people who need content like this, right? Some people call it I'm going to use the word. Some people call it the underprivileged, right? They put a lot of grants out there, and we don't get any of them. But what we're trying to do is not use that anymore. We're trying to offer people inspiration for power of positive thinking and learning, and inspiring people to think and go out and do. And that way we all have better opportunities, because education is illumination, right? We can, and we have some sign language on here, right? We unite globally, right? As one community. I wish Ankit were here.
Yeah.
Okay? We love each other. This is a symbol for love. And we do this. We give namaste as our hello now, because we don't want to shake hands. But I also call it many blessings, right? May we all have many blessings. But, and yeah, Ankit does this, live and let live, right? We got to.
I like that. Okay.
Right? We got to live and let live. the doctors are also saying, we have a lot of doctors on our show that have been talking to us about common sense. They're all from all over the world. Through COVID, they've inspired us to do the right things and share their research with us all throughout the whole thing. And a lot of them are now saying, now that we have lived, we have to make a living, right? We need to focus on that. Now we're learning how to live. We need to focus on a live. So what you're doing is phenomenal.
Thank you.
You just got started. It's very hard to do, isn't it? The content.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's a
yeah.
lot of work.
but yeah, I love it though. Yeah.
But Mark has brought radio talk to TV, which I love radio talk. I always have. So he's brought his radio talk show to TV, and that's what we want. We want more of that, because a lot of people don't know this, but radio talk can be very educational. Even if you don't agree with the people, you learn how other people think. I mean, I spent years driving up and down the highways, listening to AM talk, disagreeing with half of everything they talk about, but I learned so much. I'm like, oh my God, is that how the rest of the world thinks? You know? So it shared with me how other people think. And that's what we have to understand. We have to understand what's in their minds, what's in their hearts, and why they believe what they believe. Otherwise, we can never unite, right? Like Nick always says, well, attorneys always say there are three sides to every story. Theirs, yours, and the truth, right? Kind of blend together. So, you know, if you're more welcome to share your content through us, we're always opening the door to any new podcasters that have our passion for sharing information to the world.
And RT, this might be the way that you combine your audio job of podcasting with your visual passion, you know, because and Mark produces his own show, and he can maybe help you produce your own. And it's one of the things where you will have the control of what you want to present. So
well, we guide you. Yeah, we guide you. Yeah, we start out with being a director on the show with you, so you kind of get a feel for what, you know, making sure your visuals are good, and you get control of your content first. And Mark already had the basics. So he'd been doing radio for 20 years. So it was easy to kind of quickly hand over, here, you already know what to do. You know, we did it with him once or twice.
And they work with different levels, like they said. I've worked with
but he was the first to branch
radio
out.
for a number of years.
Yeah, he was the first to branch out, to do his first, you know, for us to allow someone to not just produce
person. So they definitely have to work with him a little bit more than they work with me. But and he says that. I mean, I'm not speaking out of school. He'll tell them. He'll tell me that. So they meet you where you are at. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
That was my experience too, Mark.
Okay.
Well, we're not going to let you just go out there and be on your own until we know you're comfortable with it and it's running smooth. I mean, and it's not going to run smooth. I'm not talking about 100% smooth, because Ann, Kid, and I every day have a challenge. But and our biggest one is another one who has been a director for as long as Mark has been in radio, and this is why I tell people, we got to learn to give up the way you used to do things to be able to let this work for you. And Nick and I worked on TV for years enough to know how they think, right? And they don't want to give up that big camera, and they don't want to give up that perfect. Unfortunately, this is not going to be that perfect visual like a movie anymore, right? And TV is going to be changing to more like this, because they have to do more away from location shooting.
Exactly.
But it was funny, because a lot of them go, no, I don't want to move. I don't want to. And I go, trust just for one time, because Nick and I have done exactly what you've done for years. We bled to death doing it at $1,000 per minute recording. Help us teach you how to do this more cost effective. Once you move, and we're building another platform. This is not ours. We're using what already existed, but we're working on and designing a new platform that will allow us to own a little bit more and control even more for ourselves. So it's, you know, if you're using Zoom, you're probably doing a lot of post editing, a lot of downloading, and a lot of re-uploading.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I got it. 4 hours. Am I right? 4 hours.
Yeah, just about every week.
I
Yeah.
got it. I know this routine inside and out. We actually built the concept to do that, right? And I told Nick I cannot run a TV network doing this. It changed the game because I wasn't paying a director, but it wasn't transitional enough, right? That downloading and uploading is an hour each usually, and then embedding, and then the network comes down, and then you're late with delivery of a show. We started filming with StreamYard and our lives changed. And I'm not selling StreamYard. I'm just telling you there are other platforms out there. We find this one to be the most user-friendly, and they've been very accommodating to us. Anytime I have a problem, they usually fix it right away. But there are others out there, this one, but we're going to eventually get to a better, and think quality will get better, bandwidth will get better. We'll start negotiating, just like a startup business. You'll start negotiating deals with carriers so that we can get better bandwidth for the TV show. Because I've already done that for years. I own my own phone company for many, many years. I started it from ground up. And so I know what you can do in negotiating for these things, but we're not there yet. But this is also a startup talk show. So I don't mind talking about these kind of things because everybody learns, right? I don't have a lot of secrets anymore. I'm too old for that. So, my intellectual property, most people should be able to figure it out. And if they don't, let's collaborate. But
I laugh when she says she's too old for something.
Yeah, right. So Kimberly, did I hear that there's a rumor that Jim's going to be doing a podcast on the shirts to wear and the hats to wear when you're on a show? That's
yeah.
I call it styling.
Yeah. Jim, you looking smooth, man. You looking real smooth.
Thank you.
He always does. You caught me on a day I'm not dressed up. This will mark the first time ever I am not wearing a suit.
But you look great, though. You look great.
That's why I called her out on it, because
but I usually am suited up because I believe in a business attire. But this is podcaster day, and I said, you know what? What the heck? I'm gonna wear a t-shirt today that supports a mission, and we'll see how that turns out. But and I feel odd, to be honest with you, on TV without my suit. I really do. People know it. Well, here's the thing. When I got into the TV business, which was 4 years ago, you would have never seen me in public. I do boardroom, courtroom, and classroom. And I was always taught to dress up. But when I got into TV, I started taking training on what are the rules for TV. And I met with one of the best directors ever of Making Your Appearance Perfect. I just by chance happened to meet him, and he worked with me and didn't charge me a dime. And he gave me the best tips ever. Nick even said, I cannot believe your transition from the first show to this and there was, you can literally see the change in how I looked at a camera, my appearance, everything. But he gave me one rule: never leave the home or be in front of the camera unless you're camera ready. Never step out that door. Now I'm at home all the time right now, but never step out that door unless you're camera ready. But what he meant is never be in front of public unless you're camera ready. And the rule number one for women is to always have a jacket. Always. Just always have a blazer. No ifs, ands, or buts. But anyway, the other things I learned were phenomenal. But this is my first time ever. I can't write this day down because we're doing first time evers. And we're going to keep a catalog of them. So, and you know what? Here's another tip for doing shows. And I did this with Money Masters when we started Money Masters PBS, is keep a spreadsheet of all your interviews, the days and everything. Keep a timeline of everything because you're going to reference that spreadsheet a lot. A lot.
That's a tip.
I'm going to take that tip. I like that tip.
Well, and the thing is that we started that tip. I lived by Money Masters, but when we started IBM TV, I forgot about it, and it was just because we were so busy. And then I went back to Ankit, and we had to backtrack, and it was really hard. It was like oh my gosh, have we really interviewed that many people? So I was glad we started. I think it was 2 weeks in. I said, Ankit, we got to start and we did. And thank goodness, because we're constantly going back and we're flashing back. And now we're going back because we run a 4-hour show. We're going back and cutting segments. We're not doing this for all of them, but we realized a lot of our shows ran in really cool segments. Like we just most of the hour we spent with Ryan. So let's just cut that hour, right? Mm-hmm. And then we posted, our talk with Ryan. Most of our talk was with Jim. So and Ankit is getting down to, and I got to get him another computer. His computer is not able to do this anymore. But we cut live. So Ankit will sit there and cut the shows live now. So we don't even have to go back and do it.
Right.
So,
awesome.
So
do we have another podcaster on?
Nice.
So we have another podcaster here. Who do we have? My apologies. My eyes are can you pronounce your name for us?
Yeah, I'm not going to try.
Umara?
My name is Michael. You can call me Michael, but my real name is Okechukwu.
All right.
Okechukwu. So Okechukwu.
Okechukwu, but call me Michael.
You're from Nigeria, Michael?
Michael is great.
Michael is great. So you're a podcaster, but I'm going to put you on the limelight. Share with us who you are, where you're from, and what your podcast is about.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Okechukwu Chukwuma Michael Omera. I'm a podcaster, but I'm also a farmer, a minister of the gospel, and I'm a husband. I have 2 shows that I run on podcasts, but all gospel related. One is 3 Minutes with Jesus, and the other is Every Day with Jehovah. But the other one is just like a daily devotion program that I run every day on podcast.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it's like almost like getting your daily word, the 3 minute with Jesus.
I think that is lovely. I think that is, we need more of that. And one of the things I've loved working with Ankit and all of the people from India is they all say we're all from one God. We have united. We've got a body language on our show, and I'm missing it today but there you go. We got a body language is that we're all united all over the world, right? One community, one world, one community. Yeah. And we love each other. I actually got this from David Copperfield. So we don't hug each other anymore. We send a united love, and we give many blessings, right? Namaste, hello, goodbye. And then we have live and let live, right? So but all of these are about uniting as one because we're all one, right? We're all people. One of my favorite doctors would constantly say, we're all from the same tree, right? And we forget that message, right? We're all living in crisis, trauma. Somebody mentioned that we're not doing drama in our city. I love that. I think that was you, Ryan. No drama in your city.
No drama, no.
No drama. We've got our buddy Zach who does Out and About, and that's what he's about. Is his first show went out to share the quiet and peaceful protests. They weren't the riots that the media was showing. They were all. I mean, the thousands and thousands of people. He just went out to all of the quiet, beautiful protests and shared the beautiful love, and that's what we're about here. But that's what we got to get back to. We're missing that. So when did you start this, Michael?
Actually, I started 6 months back. That's
okay.
Yeah. First of all, I started running a video of my show first on November, the first week of November. Then I started podcast fully January, when I came back from the Christmas holiday. Actually, it was the cousin of mine that's been doing a podcast for a while that introduced me to podcast. Her name is Babbling with Jasmine Charlie. So she introduced me to podcast, and I kind of liked it and wanted to do more. and in a way to spread the gospel more through podcast.
Wow. You know, passion, right? Passion is what it takes. And
Mhm.
and I'm going to share a secret with you. A lot of the people that are here today with us started with us just coming on the show, right? And being part of our good panel talks about everything that's happening everywhere. And then the next thing you know, they start branching off their own shows, or they might go visit another one who started their show and they go, you know what? I want to do a show. Jim was one of them, right? Sasha, who's not on the screen with us, he was another one. He's in Canada. So we're from all over the world. We've got a woman from Lagos, in Nigeria, that's going to be starting a
Lagos.
Lagos, yeah.
Southern accent.
It's my Southern accent. But we've got a woman who's going to be starting a show from there, and I'm real excited about it because it's about just mentally, right? How we can relax and get back to health. Which is very, very important to us. So this is a good message of what the gospel of Jesus in 3 minutes. So you do like a short, quick Twitter, basically, right? Video, a Twitter video.
He's not limited
Well,
to 32 characters.
No, I'm not limited with the time. Let me just be honest. To be honest, at first, I wanted it to be sharing the gospel under 3 minutes. But as I kept on doing my stuff, I noticed I was being led by the Holy Spirit to do more than 3 minutes. So I now automatically turned the name 3 minutes to be a brand. And I just do what I want to do. That's all.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. I think so many people are so busy, and like if you text them anything more than 3 lines, they don't want to talk to you, right? And
Sure.
I am not that kind of person. First off, I know I talk a lot, but I'm an engineer who had to explain everything. And when you did, any kind of paper or documentation, and in this day and time, if you say the wrong 3 sentences, because I'm not very good at that, people will hate you right off the bat. Like, oh, you don't get it, So I think that there needs to be more than 3 minutes. So I'm glad you do that. How do you find your guest for your show? Do you have guests?
For now, I actually did only one program with my cousin. That's Jasmine Charlie. She's the only guest I have for now. And I still plan to have other guests come in, but I'm still taking my time. The other person that ought to have been a guest decided to share his video. That's a short clip of his video, what he wanted to share to the audience. So I decided to just take it up. But I'm still planning to have this interview with him so that people get to understand how he got converted to God. Understand what I mean? So
Yes.
For now, actually, only one guest, and that's my cousin.
Well, you always have one guest besides yourself, and that's Jesus.
That's right.
And
Wow.
so,
Yeah,
Love it.
true.
how did you get him on your show?
How did I get Jesus on my show?
Yes.
Well, I like
What do you
that.
mean?
Um,
Love it.
well, he got me.
He got you.
Yes.
Yeah, he got me first.
I love it. I love it.
That's a great answer.
I think the message of any good will and faith is what we need today, right? Regardless of what religion people are, we need to home into a good, positive, faithful, and believe in ourselves. And when you believe in yourselves, your faith will come out as well. And there's nothing wrong with, in most cases, I've reviewed a lot of religions, and I see a lot of them have the same rules, right? They just truly have respect each other, respect God, and things like that. So I think it's beautiful what you're doing because you're sharing love. You're not sharing hate. And I just think that that's awesome.
I do too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So when can people hear your show?
My show, actually, I'm still working on a particular day when I'll drop them on podcasts, but I actually do them on a Friday. Actually,
Okay.
I normally upload new episodes on Fridays, and that's
So
what I do for now.
Record and then upload. That's great.
Yeah, I record, I edit, because I first record in a video format, then I convert them to MP3, then post them on my podcast.
Wow. Okay. Do you use a Zoom or what kind of tool do you use for recording?
Okay, I use my phone. That's my iPhone. That's what I use.
And is there like a recording platform, or do you record into the iPhone and then upload?
I record into the iPhone, then I edit with a software called Filmora, Wondershare Filmora 9. After editing, adding because if I give out a Bible verse, I try and subtitle it so you could see it. Then I'll just put on my my social media logos and stuff, advert on the video. So I use that software to do all that. Then after that, I now export, compress, convert to MP3, post to podcast, where I post the video on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. That's what I do.
I'm very impressed, man. You are more technologically savvy than I am, because that's a lot of software manipulation of what just speaking into your phone is not the end of the story.
No, it's a lot of editing. This is what I tell people. Anytime you pull off any one of those shows, and it's hard to edit in a phone. I'm going to tell you right now. Sure. And they've got a pretty cool tool, but you can't do it with the video as well. But they have a tool where you can like stitch all your pictures together, and it makes it move, and they automatically add music. But you can't pick where the pictures go. They do, right? And that kind of drives me crazy. But
I understand.
but the editing is, to me, the most longest and hardest difficult part of the whole thing.
Sure.
So
yes,
but that is awesome, and it is an awesome message to get out there. Now, how long? You said you've been doing this 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Do it from your home?
Yeah, I do it at home. Like now, I'm in my house.
And where can people find your podcast?
Okay. Actually, I've done a lot of work in spreading it on other podcast platforms, but I'm still working on iHeartRadio. I have them on Apple, Google, Stitcher, Castbox, Podcast Chasers. The other day, I just noticed that Bullion some people just listened to my podcast on Bullion. So it's kind of almost everywhere. Let me just.
I was going to say, you're quite the marketing man. Oh my gosh, where's that?
Michael, if I'm on Apple, how do I find your broadcast? How do you find your podcast?
Okay. On Apple, you can find me on the 3 Minutes with Jesus on Apple Podcast. That's iTunes. Yeah. Okay. Then if you like the morning devotion program, and you want to also listen to that, because I do a lot of teachings, but I try and make that short, on the 6-7 minutes max. That's Every Day with Jehovah. That's the two things.
Okay.
Wow, that is.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you gotta promote yourself, man, because nobody else is going to do it for you. So
Susie Orman says that shamelessly self-promote. That's what Susie Orman says when she gets out there and tells people you got to shamelessly self-promote. You know what? You just do. Nobody's going to know who you are if you don't keep pushing it. And all of these famous actors and actresses, they weren't famous that one day they walked on stage. I think Ron Howard might have been, right? Because he was Opie Taylor. So the whole world knew Opie Taylor when he was on Andy Griffin. But literally, majority of the people, nobody knows who they are until they're what? Promoted.
True.
This is why I tell people, go, well, you're not Barbara Walters. And I'm like, yeah, but my God, I mean, she started 100 years ago on TV and worked her butt off for 40 before anyone probably knew who she was. People think that these people just evolve or, well, NBC promotes Paula, whatever. And I go, well, that's great, but you got to get started somewhere and don't let people put you down for doing what you believe, right?
That's it. Yes, that's true.
Don't let praise go to your head and don't let criticism go to your heart.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
That's great. I love that.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. All right. That's it. That's a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
That's a Jimmy.
I didn't even steal that from Ankit.
You didn't even steal it. Yeah, you didn't steal it from me either. I love it. We all need to hear that sometimes, because sometimes it's easy to forget where we came from when we start making it to the top, because we work so hard to get there, right? And then you go, wow, okay. And it is deserved. People, it is. You work very, very hard to get where you are, but don't forget. And don't forget that other people are starting where you started. And it doesn't hurt to give a hand, right? That's not competition.
Everybody was a beginner once.
That's right. And it doesn't hurt. And there, sometimes I wish somebody would give us a hand, right? It doesn't always happen. So, so you got to give yourself a hand. Yay! As I tell people, when I gave the speech at NC State University's commencement in 2018, NC State University, I was so honored. Oh my God. I was so nervous. And, but I said, you know what? I want you guys to give yourself a hand first off before we even get started. Congratulations. Yeah, because
good for you.
Nobody's going to give you a good hand after this unless you're on stage. But you have to praise yourself sometimes, and we forget to do that. We're always looking for praise from somebody else. We forget to say, you know what? Just because somebody else didn't give me praise, I'm okay, and what I'm doing is okay. So,
and Kimberly, one of the things I've learned is that if someone holds their hand out for help, I want my hand to be there to help them.
Yeah,
and it's one of the things. I'm a big fish in a small pond of chess, and it's like everybody's a beginner at some point, and when they're trying to get better, you're there to help them. Help them.
Why not? I mean, yeah, you might be building your competitor, but sometimes having a competitor is great. The biggest compliment you can have is when you've trained somebody to be better than you. Did you know that?
I think so.
Well, this is what Nick and I have talked about this, because we don't do a die-hard contract with people to come with us, right? And we talk about we're going to be building a lot of stars. We are, and a lot of people are going to get called by the networks because we're going to show you how to do it right. And you're going to go to the networks, and I go, what better advertisement for us to have than to have somebody go from us, or who knows, maybe we become the bigger and better network because we're nicer, right? Because people have no idea what it's like and what a dogfight it is to work with the networks, right?
No, you're so right. But Nick told me I was getting a contract in the mail.
And Nick does everything by the mail. He believes in supporting the USPTO, or that's the trademark on it. He USPS. He supports the Postal Service. He doesn't want it to go bankrupt.
Nobody does except for the people who want to suppress the vote.
Right. And so, but this is what I tell people. Nick still believes in the hard copy checks. Yeah, because people go, Nick tells me the checks in the mail. I go, that's no joke. You know how people joke and they go, the checks in the mail? That's not a joke with Nick. But he, again, he grew up the same time I did. It's easier for him to do his checks and balances when he does that. I think I'll be honest with you, it got very, very confusing when we transitioned to all of this paperless world. I lost a lot of data because I kept everything stored on a computer and then a spare hard drive. And one day, nothing converted over. I had a hacker, the employee that was angry, destroyed everything. So, and I didn't have hard copies. Prior to 2003, I had hard copies of everything. Maybe 2007 because I was being audited then. So I had hard copies of everything, like even if I was starting to do soft copies. But then we moved to this weird payment system where everything was PayPal or online paying, right? We're trying to keep up with all those deductions because they don't come out of the bank where it's written exactly what you paid for. So the biggest, how do I say this without being rude? The biggest time I ever got screwed, where I couldn't write this off on my taxes and I could not sue the company. It was a huge corporation, multi-billion-dollar corporation that we entered into a contract with, right? And we needed the money real quick to get started and kickstart the project. And they canceled the project on us going forward. And we had the contracts written in emails. That's still a contract. And we had a contract and we had an invoice. But it didn't, the courts wouldn't consider it executable. And this was in 2017 because they wired the money to me and the wire didn't have a subtitle of why they sent me the money. And you want to talk about a mess on your taxes.
Oh my goodness.
Even though I have the invoice number in their transaction database, because their database, I had to get approvals, like 50,000, and it comes back and says, this is what they're paying for, right? Unless you took a photo of every one of those steps, you didn't have any. So when they wired the money to me, of course, yay, we finally got our money. We can get started. And then things started to hit the fan and I went to address the issue and they go, well, prove it. And they know what they're doing. So I told Nick, I'm going back to checks. I want everyone to send me a paper check with that subject line. And if that subject line ain't filled out, I'm going to send it back. And no matter how bad I need the money. And
but that's so 5 minutes ago. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm just saying checks, right? Hard checks in the mail. And with Nick, it's serious. But, these are things to think about when you're running your business and you're getting into contracts with people. Get that hard copy. All right.
Even my foundation, we do things through PayPal and wire transfers. I use Western Union to get to China. And it's like, do I really have that documentation? I don't think so. You're really making me think now.
Well, I mean, here's a tip with PayPal. One of the things I do like about them, but things change every day. It's like the banks no longer keep any records longer than 3 years. So make sure you print your hard copies or download them. Yeah, they no longer keep, a lot of them don't. Okay, credit cards do not keep anything past 3 years. Tax Act or TurboTax does not keep your taxes online beyond 3 years. They literally delete it 3 years to the day. So make sure you download everything.
Well, that's a program that's running in the background. It says it comes across the date and then delete. Then that it
and there's no forgiveness. There is no forgiveness. So again, I kind of screwed up there. I didn't know that. I thought that they kept everything forever.
You told me.
So, but PayPal has a section, if you go into PayPal, and it says you can print it into a beautiful spreadsheet and it prints out every one of your purchases, who from, if they had a from, right? And it's very somewhat organized, but you have to make sure you do it and it's not always there for you when you need it. So I always tell people, I used to have a habit and I need to get back into it every Monday. Every Monday I do my finances. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it might take me an hour, it might take me 3. But every Monday I was doing my finances.
Good for
and
you.
I got out of that habit. Really, really bad. And when it stacks up, you don't want to do it, right? Then you get depressed. And then you go, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. And then it stacks up even more, right?
Yes.
So I used to say a month for, like do it once a month. I used to coach people to do it once a month. And I realized that's a headache. Once a month,
Right.
you forget things. But if you do it once a week, get in a discipline, find that hour if it's lunchtime. And it might take 3, but at least get an hour's work done. This is what I tell people, at least get an hour's work done. And you won't regret it. That's not.
But we're talking about the United States now. What's it like in Nigeria to keep your financial records straight? Do you have to go through what Kimberly is describing as all of this documentation, or is it different for you in Nigeria? Michael.
Well, actually, it's quite different here in Nigeria. We do keep stock of our taxes. Some of us do that with a hard copy, but I believe online. Either you save it on your mail, or you try find a hard drive. But I prefer mails because hard drive crash. Actually, I'm an IT engineer, so I kind of understand some of these things the way it goes. So I try to save them on mails or Dropbox, just to be on the safer side. But just of recent, the tax company in Nigeria made it easier for us to kind of pay our taxes online. Just of recent. Actually, started this year. So I'd say it's a new development for some of us here to try and see how to adapt to that. Yeah, how to adapt to that new system. You understand? I love the way you were making emphasis and points on arranging your financial books, especially on a Monday. But most of us here don't have that. Shall I say? We don't have that opportunity or time or belief in all these things. We wait for them to the end of the year, where we just come up and sum it up, and we look for auditors like that's auditors to come help you do the math and just arrange it. And
is there like hey, it's Mark
no,
over here.
Actually, I'm telling you.
Is there like a national bank of Nigeria, or are y'all using a lot of the American banks over there? Because I know there has been a move to have different kinds of banks go to different countries. So I don't know, y'all primarily, is there like a national bank of Nigeria, or is it more of the global banks that are coming there now?
Actually, we have some banks here in Nigeria. You understand, we have a central bank, which is the CBN. We call it the CBN. Yeah. But we have other banks that are working here. Yeah, let me put it that way. Other banks. We have other banks that do work here. I think the only foreign bank. Okay, we do have like 2-3 foreign banks. UBA. I can't remember where they're from. Stanbic is from South Africa, and we have forgotten, but just a few. I can't remember having any American bank in Nigeria. No, we don't have.
Gotcha. I was just wondering. And is the film industry still as big as it used to be? Because I remember everybody talks about Bollywood, and then there was a big Nollywood movement at one time where a lot of the Nigerian movies, I guess, were coming here and being shown here. Is that still as big as it used to be, or is it tapered off some?
Come again? Sorry, I didn't get you. Come again? Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I was just saying, just trying to remember some of the things I do remember learning about Nigeria. And one of the things I remember is that a lot of people talked about the movie industry there. Of course, y'all are known for oil, but a lot of people also talked about the movie industry there. So I was wondering, is it still strong there? Is it still a strong business, the movie business there?
Well, yes. It's. I'd say it's a broad one. It's very big. It's productive. It's growing stronger and stronger by the day, and I'll tell you that's one industry in which if you invest, you surely see your profit. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Still big.
Excellent.
That's interesting. Kim, what do you think about that? Because they're saying that they actually do well investing in movies there, whereas I know here in America we always think of that as like one of the risky things to invest in terms of investing in movies.
So there's a thing of being oversaturated, right? in an industry, and maybe perhaps their industry isn't as oversaturated as ours. We've received applications from people who do movies and actually really cool TV shows with Nigeria. And I'm impressed with their movie industry. So I just think that they're not as oversaturated as we are. I've noticed that Bollywood does pretty well, right?
Sure. Good.
I think that when they become oversaturated like we are, where everyone has a dream, it's hard, right? And that's what our platform is for people who have great content that just can't seem to get it distributed to the theaters. Because there's so much out there, right? There's just a lot out there. But we're, and I'm not going to say we're real picky with our choices of content, but it's got to be of good quality, right? And we don't want anything that's R-rated or anything like that. So we're very, very careful. But, again, just kind of like our TV shows, we want content that has that. But the movie industry is insane. It's in America. Right. I think in Nigeria, it's probably a little bit better regulated too. So,
I would imagine it's probably a lot better regulated over there than it is over here, because you're right. There's a lot of those regulations are very strict here and everything. So it's just crazy.
I watched the movie last night with Henny that we filmed. He's filmed a couple of different series that he's working on, and it's pretty fabulous. I don't know how he does everything he does. But and we watched it last night, the premiere, and a lot goes into that. I mean, I was there when he filmed that over a year ago, and it's taken that long to get it produced to the length that it's in and the quality, right? And it costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money. And it's hard today in this time because of COVID to find investors for it. And especially now that AMC, I think, filed bankruptcy. Am I right? Can you guys clarify that for me? Anybody?
I'd have to do some research. I'm not sure myself, but I'll look it up and see what I see about that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had or had not. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Nobody's going to be going to the theater anytime soon. They were teetering.
Same with Broadway too. Stage.
I know the movie theaters were struggling before COVID. So
because of Netflix and Amazon Prime, and there's so much competition now.
I mean, some interesting things are being done. As I'm on the board here in Durham, North Carolina, with the Carolina Theater, and I know that they're actually possibly going to be showing commercial films, just because one of our major commercial film outlets is shut down because of construction. It was even shut down before COVID, and they were just going from a family mall. Because I heard earlier we were talking about malls with the other podcaster and everything, and I'm oftentimes wondering about the future of the small mall, not the big super malls, but the small mall, and that's even global. Because, like I said, the small family mall is not that big anymore anywhere in the country, whereas the super malls are all over the country and all over the world.
I can't imagine what the mall up in Minnesota is going through. That big,
never thought of that.
The roller coaster, the restaurants. It's got a big, huge fair inside of it. Roller coasters, rides. And think about the casinos that have all of that as well, right? That they're not able to use that because you can't go and clean every ride after everybody gets in and out of it. So.
I've got a friend from Vegas, and they're actually getting ready to open up parts of Vegas for exactly that reason. And I know they're getting ready to open up part of, I think, our North Carolina Zoo. But they're going to have new restrictions. So it's going to be interesting to see what those new restrictions look like. Because, if you're used to going to, say, a casino and seeing thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, you're not going to see that anymore, because they're going to have restrictions as to how many people are going to be there. I don't even know, Jim, I know earlier in the podcast before my computer decided to have a moment that we were talking about games and everything, and I don't even know how you would have some of those games. Imagine a chess tournament, or for that matter, a poker tournament, where sometimes there are hundreds of people that are right next to each other, but you're going to try to do that in the new age with the restrictions of size. Where people can be spaced from each other. I just don't see how that's even going to be possible. Some of those kind of competitions. Bowling, no problem. you're 6 feet away anyway. I mean, the next lane, I mean, it's not quite 6 feet, but you got a lot of distance. Same with golf, but some sports I just think are going to be very hard to and game in Canada for sure.
We canceled the major tournaments this year, and we're trying to build them online. And it's a wonderful idea because chess is a killer application for the internet. But what if Sasha is impersonating Kimberly and Kimberly enters this tournament and she's playing what moves Sasha's telling her? And all we know is that Kimberly's logged on and we don't know that Sasha's telling her what to do. So it's a big problem and we're trying to sort that out.
I'm going to tell you what, if I hire somebody, it's going to be Sasha or Nick or, one of the other guys that we've had on our show. Yeah.
Jim was like, why aren't you going to hire him? Jim's like,
well, I'm not going to say I'm going to hire Jim because I don't want somebody to come after Jim and say, Kim hired you. But I would hire Sasha.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't want to get Sasha in trouble either. I love all of my guys.
Speaking of getting folks in trouble, I do have a question, and I might get myself in trouble for asking this question, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Now, the other thing that I know that exists in the Nigerian culture, I'm going to bring my brother in from Nigeria, is that sometimes I've got friends that are from Nigeria, and I've also got friends that have dated folks, both men and women from Nigeria, and sometimes their big complaint is that African men in general and African women can be overly possessive. So what would your answer be to them?
Sorry, Mark, I didn't really get you. The network was kind of cracking. So I'm trying, just come again with your question.
No, no problem. I'll ask again. I was just saying that I've got a couple of friends that dated Nigerian gentlemen and even some that married them, but they love the culture. They love the Nigerian culture, but they do sometimes get frustrated because sometimes they feel that people from other parts of the world, and it's not just Africa, I would even argue some of the European countries are a little bit overly possessive. So when you hear that complaint from the African-American women, do you have like an answer for them? Because I'm always curious as to what answer I can give them when they try to give that stereotype.
Are you stereotyping Michael?
I think he is.
I wanted to shatter the stereotype. That was my point. I wanted to shatter the stereotype.
Only on IPM. Go ahead. Stereotype.
All right. First of all, I'll tell you that Nigerians are wonderful people. Do you understand? And I understand their frustration at times when it comes to relationships. Understand that we Nigerians, first of all, we have the culture. And we kind of stick more to our culture and try to relate on it, live with it, and believe so much in it. Despite we're living outside our country, outside our home, outside the environment, we try and practice that same culture. So to most folks or people that date Nigerians, I'll tell you the truth, just take it easy. You understand? Try and understand the culture and live with that person. Because I have a cousin, he's based in America, he's married to an American woman. Do you understand? And this woman kind of love him like crazy. And we know the Americans have a different lifestyle. And we Nigerians have a different lifestyle. But I think she got to understand and adapted to ours. And he did the same thing to hers. So my advice to everyone is try and understand we have a culture. Understand our culture, and I think you'll fit it. That's all.
We used to have a saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans, right? So if you go to Nigeria, get used to the culture, learn it, live it, right? Learn who they are and why go to another country if you don't want to experience what the culture is? So it's just interesting.
Yes, it's interesting. And like I said, we're just curious because I've just known some people that have lived with different people from different cultures, and sometimes they feel that they bring the culture to America and don't necessarily give up their culture. And I personally think that they need to identify with their culture if they come to America. So I have no problem with like Nigerians enjoying their food and Kenyans enjoying their food and their own cultural ways. But then some people want to try to get the person to change when they move to a Western society. And that's where I think we run into problems. And I think that that's kind of what that gentleman who just left was kind of
I think
alluded to and everything. But I do think that sometimes it becomes too much of us trying to impose Western ways on folks that are coming from other parts of the world and not letting them incorporate their own culture into their American identity. So like I said, if somebody's moving from Nigeria, one of my favorite, and I think you maybe know these people, but one of my good friends and everything, and they are international, so I can mention the name of the place, and I think it'll still be all right in the IBM universe, the IBM TV universe. But I'm good friends with the owners of The Palace, which is a Kenyan restaurant, but they definitely also identify with their Kenyan background and share that in their restaurant. So people that come there, they enjoy the food, they enjoy the Kenyan food, but they also get to learn a little bit about the Kenyan culture. The same with a friend of mine that owns a space that's Zimbabwean. So the food is from Zimbabwe. I believe the wife, who's actually the chef, is from Zimbabwe, and her husband, who's an African-American gentleman, is from, I want to say he's from either Durham or Virginia, but they started their own restaurant that celebrates the Zimbabwean culture. And the same with another friend that has an Ethiopian restaurant. So I think that sometimes we do get caught up with not letting people share their own culture and everything and trying to impose American ways on them. So
it's
that's
why I go to a Greek restaurant, right? Or why I go to any different kind of culture restaurant or into their community is to experience them. Because what is America? What is America? Yeah. America is a melting pot of every culture.
That's what we tell ourselves anyways. But I'll tell you, Mark, the first time I got this sense of what you're talking about, these culture clashes, was going down to New Orleans for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
All of the food there was nothing like this New Englander had ever experienced. And it was wonderful, but scary at the same time. But, we got to calm down. Don't be scared by something that's just different, and my Jewish friends are so admirable to me because they stick to their faith, to their ethnic culture, and they still blend in wherever they end up. But they still maintain the integrity of their faith, of their people. And I think that is how we have to be as a global community. Yeah. We can have pride in our culture, in our background, but we have to be able to get along with everybody.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. And sometimes it's just so wonderful getting a chance to explore different cultures, not just the food. Like you said, I've had the pleasure of having different foods from different parts of the world, but also just kind of the atmosphere of the way things are done. I've enjoyed seeing performances of musicians that are like from Brazil, from Mexico, from African countries, things of that nature. One of my good friends, who I think you knew, even Kimberly as well, until he passed away, was Baba Chuck Davis. And Baba Chuck Davis was definitely one that would go around the world. He traveled all over Africa and got to learn the different styles of African dance and bring that here to America, not just to North Carolina. He brought it all over America because he traveled all over the world, just kind of like sharing that those dance styles and things that he learned from the different countries that he visited. So I'm definitely a fan of us trying to learn different cultures and those different cultures. And I think that sometimes folks get too stuck in their own ways and don't want to learn other elements of other cultures. And I do think that sometimes, which is kind of why I was bringing the question up, and it was done more of a teasing kind of manner. If people took it offense, I apologize. But I was trying to bring in the fact of that a lot of times people do have these stereotypes, because I can tell you that I've had some friends of mine that married people from other cultures, and then they would be complaining that those people in whatever that culture was a more possessive kind of culture, because every culture has its own ways of relationships as well. So like I said, if they got into that relationship, I would think that they would have known that from the beginning, but sometimes people jump into things without thinking about things.
There's so much life in itself is just a mystery, right? Where does it come from? Sometimes we got to believe in God or something, right? We all came from something. Every morning I pray and I look at every element in my prayer world of a leaf, a bug, just everything. It's got to be complicated, right? There's no 100% answers, but as we evolved as humans, I think, we were given a conscious, right? Compared to majority of the others, we think compared to, I think dolphins have it. I really do. I've seen how dolphins react and everything. So
I would actually argue with you on that, Kim. I think that quite a few of the animals have a conscience. Now, it might not be the conscience in the sense of the way we have it, but I personally, and I've said this on this show, I've said it on Zach's show, I've said it on a couple of other shows, including my own. I personally think that the animals throughout the world, I would even argue the animals on the continent of Africa as well as other parts of the world, are being a lot happier with us now as humans. And not that they want us to suffer, but at the same time, some of the benefits of what they're seeing because of our suffering, they are enjoying. Because, like I said, there's no doubt that Mother Nature throughout the world has been cleaned up a lot. So, I mean, animals are showing up in parts of places that they never showed up before. I mean, like in the canals of Italy, or even in other places that hadn't been seen in centuries, if not multiple centuries. So I think that they are enjoying some of the benefits of this. And because of that, I personally, and Jim, I don't know where it is that where you are, or to my gentleman from Nigeria, but it seems to me that the animals are even being more vibrant in their songs. I think that these birds that I'm hearing are a lot more, they're singing a happier song in my mind.
They're sassier, to be honest. You're not, I think they're sassier.
Yeah, they're probably
got sassy. Let me tell you what, the deer are walking on our porch now. The animals gotten sassy around here. But that's okay. This is their world too, right?
The way I look at it is as where the humans are suffering from this COVID virus, but Mother Nature thinks we're the virus.
Yes,
and Mother Nature is inflicting this antibody on the virus.
I agree.
So unless we start to pay attention to Mother Nature, that we're offending her, that we have to change our ways and stop polluting the rivers, stop polluting the air. We have got to do this. And so she's given us a little notice, and we don't want to push her further.
She's slapping.
No, we definitely have to.
Notice, bam.
Yeah, we got to listen to her. She's giving us notice big time. I was just wondering, to my brother over there in Nigeria and everything, are you noticing more animals that are appearing more bold? Are we seeing more animals coming to like the steps in the big cities? Because, I mean, y'all got some really exotic animals there. So I don't know how I would feel if I saw a tiger pop up on my front step. So, like I said, are you seeing more animals that are actually coming out and being more bolder in their sense of actually coming into the city environment? Like Kim just said, the deer, which are not that small of an animal, but they're also not that fierce. But they have started appearing like off of cars, like off of neighborhoods near the highway, and even, as Kim just said, right in her backyard. So I'm wondering what the animals in Africa are doing. Are you seeing, as more of this going on and more humans being restricted, are more of the animals being bolder and coming into human spaces?
Can he is he open mic? Okay, yeah, he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you.
I must leave.
Yeah, good. About Nigeria here, we have only few animals that do come out in the society, and some are kind of domestic. And when it comes to the wild animals, they're all in the we call this forest we call thick forest, very thick forest. That's where you could see the lions, the tigers, the elephants. That's where they are. But when you come to like the society, you can easily see a dog walking on the street. You could see a goat, chicken. In some environments, you could see snakes. Snakes don't really pop out that, you understand, because they kind of grow in an environment because we have a lot of bushes beside our homes. Like my house beside me, there's this big grass grown and it's looking like a bush. Now there are snakes in there. So there are times you might see snakes on the road. It depends. But when it comes to some bigger cities, like where I live is like a bit, let me say it's a suburban, but when you go to the urban sites like Lekki, VI, you have dogs, some wild untamed dogs, which are not wild. Some chickens. When it comes to wild,
Okay.
when it comes to, can you hear me?
Yeah, you've got a little bit of static, but I was just wondering. But what I was asking is, the animals that are on the verge, like off or in the jungle area, because of what's going on in COVID, are they starting to come more into the public space and everything? Because I know here some of our animals that might be usually off in the distance, like the deers and the rabbits, are now, because humans are, well, now we're starting to have these various phases where we're coming out more. But there was a time that many of us were quarantined in the house, so the animals were starting to come more inland and more into what would be considered human space. And I was wondering if the same thing was happening in Nigeria.
No, not at all. The animals still kept their spaces while we have our own spaces. That's the truth. Yeah.
Gotcha. Looks like we've got somebody here. Love for words. I'm assuming
Yeah, Katira, hi, I'm your big fan. How are you doing?
How are you doing? Love for words. I'm assuming that you
Katira.
might be a poet.
Hi, I'm Katira. The name of my business.
I
The name of
always
my
hear
business
from
is Love
Katira.
for Words.
Yeah.
And
Love
is
for
it a
words.
poetry
She's
business
an
or what is it?
editor.
Is it a writing business?
She's
Editing.
an editor.
Editing.
And a podcaster. She's an editor and a podcaster and a book author. So
Yes.
bam, bam, bam.
She does it all. What is the book about? I'm also a
Powerful
podcaster.
woman. Powerful woman. Powerhouse.
I just published my first book of poetry, Dear
Okay.
August, Love August. So
And
not a
where are
first
you based at?
I'm in Rochester, New York.
Okay, so upstate New York, in the upstate part of New York. Gotcha. Yeah, that's a great area. I've got friends in New Jersey and had some friends and relatives in New York. Actually had a friend of mine that used to live in, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but it's outside of Buffalo, and I think it's called Edina or something.
Medina. Mhm.
Edina, yeah, that's where they are. They live in Raleigh, North Carolina now, but that's where they were originally from, in that area. So I know a little bit about that area, and I keep saying that I want to come up there and visit Niagara Falls. I was supposed to have done this 2 or 3 years ago, and life happened, so things got in the way, and it didn't quite happen. But I would have still want to get there to Niagara Falls. Kim's probably already been to Niagara Falls several times.
We're about an hour away from Niagara Falls.
So the book sounds like it's really fascinating. I don't know if you've ever known this, but here in North Carolina, we have a very rich poetry scene. My friend Dasan actually is a poet, and he actually did some studies at Harvard, but he's very active in the poetry scene here, but up and down the East Coast and throughout the country, I would argue. So, but it's a very active poetry scene here. A lot of it is more of that spoken word kind of poetry, and I know that some people prefer the spoken word and the competition kind of poetry, and some prefer just the regular poetry. What is your style? Do you prefer the regular poetry, or do you like to get into that slam competition stuff?
I like to watch slam. I don't participate in it, but I do enjoy going to the performances.
Wow. Okay.
So, Kim, if you're not aware of this, and Love for Words, and I didn't catch her first name, you'll probably be able to relate to this as well. Slam poetry is a very interesting competition. If you think about like poetry and it being judged, that's what happens. So you get like these judges, and they're picked from the audience. It's usually like 5 or 6 judges, and they can usually be a a little cruel and everything. Some of the judges, as a matter of fact, there's a running joke that Jason, my poetry friend, has and everything. And please do not take this. I know this might sound stereotypical again, but he means it as a joke. But if you remember, like the Olympics, there was always a stereotype that a certain judge or a certain judge type would be the harshest judge, and that's what he plays off of. So if people start grading really low, he starts saying that, like, we know at some point we're going to have the East German or Russian judge here, because that's the judge that was from the Olympics, was always stereotyped as being the one that was a little harsh on people. So that's their running joke, is that that's the East German, because you're going to have some judge that's going to sit there and start giving 3s and 4s, and it's a scale of 1 to 10. So they want the judge, they want you to, as they say, and I'm going to keep it clean, if it's a 10, think of the best experience you've ever had in your life, the most wonderful thing that's ever happened to you that made you jubilant, happy, all of that, and they may add some other words that kind of give you that idea. That's a 10. Think of the worst thing that ever happened to you, like going to the dentist, having your tooth pulled, and anything else that could be the worst thing that ever happened to you. That's a 1. So that's the kind of the scales that they give you and everything. So but you as the audience member are the one that makes the judgment. So they send out a judge. I mean, they send out a poet early that's the collaborator, like to give you an idea of what the scoring will look like, and then it's one-on-one, and they have, like I said, most of the time it's different kinds of competitions. Usually it's just one, each poet going up and given like a certain amount of time, and if you go overtime, you get punished, and they have like a saying about that. At least here they do, and it's "you rat, bad word, you ruined it for everyone." And I won't say the bad word, but that's kind of like their way of letting folks know that they've gone over the time limit. So it's a very interesting and fascinating competition, and they do different variations. Like there's the haiku one that they do, which of course is smaller haiku poems. There's one in February that's done, and a lot of places do it. It's more of the sensual kind of poetry, for lack of a better term. I'm sure they could use other words, but sensual type poetry. And that's just a little bit about the poetry scene. So if you've never been to one, Kim, it looks like our friend the poet has been to one, but if you've never been to one, you should definitely attend one. And they're throughout the country. I mean, literally throughout the country, throughout the world.
I will have to check it out. I love poetry. My son, being an artist, I think it just comes with being an artist. Most artists are very good with poetry. I worked for the school newspaper. One of the things I did in high school, it was a long time ago, I used to write poetry for the school newspaper, as well as I write about some of the other activities. But I think poetry is a great way to express things, document history, things in time in a beautiful language, because I think poetry is its own language. It just is, right? But I think in many, many ways, it can be a language that it can be understood by many people, just like songs and music, right? So, I lost my girl. Where'd she go?
Where'd she run up to?
I don't know. Every once in a while this happens, as we know. I hope she jumps back in. I love having her on. Love to get her to do bring her podcast to IBM TV. She's like you, Mark. She's very dedicated. Here she is. There she is. Everybody's missing you.
And we have a spelling this time.
I would love to have you have your podcast on IBM TV. We need to work on that. And get you interviewed about your book. We're opening up a book show. We just had a lot of things going on. Excited though, because we brought on board some volunteers, interns for the summer that are going to help us bring our platform up a little bit. So I'm really excited about that. Some promoters that are going to help promote us in other countries. And so it's very exciting being part of a global, I call it a global movement. I don't even call it a network anymore.
It's definitely a global movement, no doubt about that. Question is, come back to what we were talking to the gentleman from Nigeria about. Are we running the movies yet, or have we created the movie show or the movie network? And if so, when is it airing? Because I know that was something that you were talking about doing some stuff with the small movies and short movies and things of that nature. But I didn't know where we were on IBM TV with that. But I know that was one of your things that you were thinking about doing. I didn't know whether that was in the works yet or still in the works. Kim.
Oh, yeah, no, it's still in the works. Again, it's about our platform, right? And it costs money, and we don't have the funding for the money. And we didn't get any PPP stimulus or anything like that. So yeah, and again, Nick and I, being business people, and Ankit especially, Ankit puts a lot of work into this and a lot of mindset and how we do things. We try not to do things we can't afford, right? Because we want to see the success. So as soon as we get the money, we'll get the platform in place. Yes, we've got access to the movies. We've got access to the people from Nigeria, from just all over. But and we're getting some movies from Mexico. But again, it's about money, unfortunately. As soon as we get the funding in place and the sponsors in place, we'll be able to do that, because that's what I want to do. And I want to tell you what, one of my favorite movies is about Lagos, Nigeria. It is called 93 Days.
Yeah.
And it's about it's a true story about a pandemic in, I think, 2000. What year was that? 2004, maybe, when
Ebola?
Yeah, the Ebola hit.
The Ebola, I think the Ebola was 2013 or 2014. There.
Yeah. So, but not too far ago, right? And within the 20 years. But even back then, having Ebola come to a country that didn't have the medical resources, the hospitals that could have dealt with a pandemic of the scale that Ebola spreads, right? Ebola spreads like COVID, and they get one patient. And in many situations, that would have meant millions of people in a city like Lagos, right? Just because of the way it spreads. But these people were smart, and they didn't put politics in place or economics in front. They put people first. They locked it down. They got a pandemic center immediately. They moved it away from the hospital where sick people come in to get better, right? They go, we got a pandemic situation. Yes, this is sick people, but this is a different kind. So they got a pandemic center. And normally in Ebola, more than 85% of the people will die. Almost 90% of the people will die. That didn't happen this time because they got control of it. And again, people died, but they also contained it. What could have been millions of people in 2 weeks time, they contained it, and it was around 20 people that were infected. And that's because everybody was honest. Everybody was transparent, right? They contacted all the people that need, and they pulled together. They pulled together and said, let's do this. So I think, that's one of my favorite movies to watch. If you get a chance, we have it on IBM TV in our movie section. It's the only movie. Well, we got a few movies that are free, but we're slowly building our movie. That's why I got onto movies. We're slowly building our movie portfolio. And we want original movies. And that's what I liked about some of the movies coming out of Africa and
now, if somebody's watching, Kim, and then I've got a question for the gentleman from Nigeria. But if somebody's watching and they've got a movie, like, we had the movie maker that was on my show and everything, they did the movie and everything, but they got a movie and they want to show it, and it's a short or full length, but definitely the shorts. Would they just email it to you, or what would the method be if somebody wants to put a movie in the movie section?
They just need to contact Go Live, GOLIV at IBM.TV. Put in the subject that you have a movie for us, and we'll get a release form sent to you, and we'll put it up. So that's all you have to do is GOLIV at IBM.TV, and you can send it to. You can even send us the link, and we'll start working on it. And again, right now our movies are free. But, for the directors put a lot of money into movies, and producers, right? Well, directors get paid. So the producers invest. Oh, I got to get my story straight, right? Producers spend a lot of money on these movies, and they need to get paid. And we know this at IBM TV. So we're trying to work on a platform where they can get paid, like a pay-per-view. And that, again, costs money to build. But we're also working with Henny Morales, who has a platform that he's trying to launch. So why reinvent the wheel, right? So we're trying to figure out a way where other people that have, like you were talking about the movie, and we'll get it distributed, because Netflix and Amazon, they don't take every movie.
Yeah, that's very true. They don't take everything. And actually, I think that I saw Henny recently in a site that I was at, because I was talking to some friends of mine that are movie makers, and they do like these discussions. So they had been going weekly, but they're getting ready to take a hiatus and everything. And it's a filmmaker collective. But one of the people was a composer, and they are part of a composer collective that's a worldwide composer collective. And when I looked at the pictures, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to double check when I see the next time that we have Henny on the show. But I'm pretty sure that he was one of those members of this collective, because my friend Michael was the one giving the lecture and everything. But as I looked at the pictures off to the right-hand side, I'm like, that looks like the guy from IBM TV.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. You know, I got a question though, and just for all of y'all, and especially.
And by the way, just real quickly, I think about that question, but the group is called the Composers Diversity Collective. And like I said, this picture of him on the left.
So we're trying to add more content. So if anybody has it, but I got a question to ask people. We're looking at a paid platform so that we can pay the people for their content. Would, you know, and in other countries, it's going to be a little different, because some countries just can't afford what other countries can. But just out of curiosity, in Nigeria, just for, you know, what I call the B list movies, they're not the A list like you get at the movie theaters. And they're good movies. Don't get me wrong. They just didn't make the movie theaters. Would you be willing to pay $1 or $2 per movie?
Yeah, I don't think that kind of charge would be cost prohibitive. I mean, as long as you're not going exorbitant, and I mean, I think $1 or something like that is definitely affordable on those kind of platforms. So I don't think that would be.
Well, a lot of these movies, when you watch them, you're like, wow, why didn't that make it to the theater, right? When you see them. So it's not about anything other than they probably didn't have the money to push it, right, or you know, they weren't associated with the right people. You know, that happens. But you know, I don't know about other countries. And, you know, Ankit and I are trying to figure out what is a good simple way. Other countries are going to have to pay probably less. You know, some pay less, some pay more, but you know, $1, $2, you know, Redbox is still doing great, and they charge close. They call it $1.68 per movie, right? And I'm fine with that. $1.68, no big deal. Even if it's not a good movie, what did I do, right? Throw away $1.68, but $1 might be everything to somebody, and you know, I got to think about that. Katira, what do you think? How much do you think?
I think that's a fair rate. I think people will be willing to pay that. I don't think that would be an issue.
Yeah. And again, what we're trying to do is just make stars out of people who can't get it to the A list, right? Kind of like the indie industry tried to do for so many years. And I think they still do a good job, right? Yeah. So there's I go to film festivals occasionally. And that's another way to go see all of the movies that are made by everybody. I mean, everybody goes to them and shares their films and everything. But Katira, share with us what you're doing this week. How is it in Rochester? It looks beautiful, actually.
Yeah, the weather's really nice. It was 92 yesterday, and so it's much colder today. It's in the 70s. So.
And windy.
Yeah, it is windy, but it's a really nice day. So I'm just hanging out in the park right now. I do have the next podcast episode airs Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
The author that I'm interviewing is Crystal Tolbert. The website is anchor.fm/editor knows best. So if anybody wants to, listen to the interview. You can go on there. All the episodes are listed on there. So I interview authors, but I also do podcasts about different writing topics like editing versus revision. I talk about what not to expect from an editor, things like that. So it's really for people interested in writing, becoming an author or other editors. And I started that in March, so I've been doing it for a few months now.
I authored a book, published a book, and I just want to say, get somebody like Katira to help you, because it's a lot of work.
Oh no, editing is no joke. I've done a little editing myself, and then I've had some things edited of my own. So yeah, editing is a skill set. It is a wonderful skill set.
Don't edit your own book, even if you edit for other people.
Right.
Let somebody else edit your book, because it's hard. And I think Katira will explain this, that that's why people like her are good, is because they take out the biased objective that you can have on your own writing. And so I'm the same way. I've edited for other people, but I'm still not an editor. I was more of a content get in on her podcast, learn if you're going to be wanting to publish a book, contact her. It's a great way to expand your knowledge and to expand your network on getting a book published. You know,
and Katara, just out of curiosity, what is the name of your podcast, and also the name of the author and their book that you've got as your featured guest? I hate this at 7 o'clock because that's the same time as mine, but I'll go back and listen after the fact, since we got at the same time. We were on the air at the same exact time, but that's all right.
I want to do a timeout there. Everyone does a podcast on Monday at 7. I don't get it. I am sorry. You know, Michael, thank you for not doing Monday at 7. You know, I have 2 ears, but it's very hard to listen to both of you guys at the same time. And then there's another person who doesn't.
I didn't pick the time. Dean picked the time, so I'll have to blame him for that.
Hey, I like Dean. I like Dean, so we'll go with Dean.
So I have to tease Dean about that, but I agree, a lot of the ones are at the same time. But I was wondering the name of her podcast. The question I had was, are you a bigger fan of, because I know this is a conversation that comes up in the author world, the writing world, are you a bigger fan of self-publishing and going to the smaller publishing houses, or do you think most people, are you a bigger fan of trying to get your stuff on the bigger publishing platforms?
I do the traditional route. I mean, not traditional, self-publishing, because I can, retain all the creative control. So that's what I like to do. And the clients that I work with are also self-published. So that's my preference. I get to, choose my book cover and not have to worry about a middleman. I get all the, profits from the book. So I definitely prefer the self-publishing route.
Yeah. I have a question.
Go for. And then the other question I had was, what's the name of your podcast?
Editor Knows Best.
Editor Knows Best. Yeah, I'm trying to get it up there because you're getting a lot of requests for that.
It's also on Google Podcasts, iHeartMedia, Apple. So it's on different platforms.
Cool. Yeah, we're on different platforms too. Me and Dean do.
The main link is anchor.fm/editor knows best. I can put it in chat as well.
Thank you. Put it in the chat for me, please. I think Ankit's trying to help me as well. Ankit's computer's not working today. So we're all kind of starting, everybody kind of had a computer hit because I walked in this morning and all my work was totally destroyed because the computer decided to reboot. And I was able to recover it. Don't get me wrong, but it just takes time, right? That I was going to sit down and just start working and then get and do my job here. And then Ankit texts me, his computer's doing, backed up. It's not working. And so Mark said his did it this morning. So,
yep. We all have computer issues. That happens sometimes. That's very much the case.
Here we go. Thank you. Let's see.
Editor Knows Best.
I'm trying to get it up.
Yeah, I got you.
Let's see.
I'm assuming the gentleman from Nigeria also has a podcast, and it looked like it had something to do.
Yeah, we had it up earlier.
What is your podcast about? It looked like it had to do with spirituality.
Yes, actually, I do more on Christianity, and name of my podcast is 3 Minutes with Jesus. Then I also have 2 actually. All right.
Can you type that in the chat or something? Because can't quite catch the accent, so I don't.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
Thank you. She disappeared on me again because I was going to ask her what she preferred about that platform, because we'd actually thought about that platform, but then we're sticking with the Blog Talk right now. So I'll ask her when she comes.
Yeah, there you go. What I like about her, she does not give up.
Yeah. Katara, what do you like about that platform? We use Blog Talk, but we were exploring Anchor, but then I know that I think Anchor you can edit it and then put it up, whereas Blog Talk is more live. We actually prefer the live environment. I guess the show with Trade Talk with Dean and Mark, so it's more of a live kind of environment. We structured it as a dinner party kind of conversation, so I don't know that would work for a pre-recording, and it seems like Anchor is more pre-recording, but clarify if I'm wrong about that.
I've never tried it live. I like to do pre-recorded just based on my schedule and things like that. I think you can do live, but I mean, it's an easy platform to use. You can record from your phone, laptop. So I really like using it. It's, very simple. I don't have any complaints about Anchor.
Anchor is actually good because I use Anchor as well. And actually, I've not tried it live, but I think the pre-recording is okay. Like I said earlier on, I convert my videos to MP3s, then I just upload them on Anchor, and it's awesome.
Gotcha.
All right. And I'll get Mark's up there in a minute, but we've got guests asking for each of your podcast shows. And, our goal, Mark is also doing a radio show on IBM TV on Mondays at 2. I have to miss them sometimes because we have meetings at 2. And because we're interviewing a lot of people to try to get people to work with us. And so 2:00 seems to be our interview time. So I sit in this chair a lot more than I used to. I had to get a different chair. But anyway, so yeah, but anyway.
You might have to take that yoga class, because I noticed that you were stressing your back a little bit there as you were adjusting. So
I do.
That episode on not this Monday, but the following Monday, we might have to have you do some of those yoga things.
I've been doing that with Dr. Yu. I've been doing the yoga with Dr. Yu, and then we have, nothing's stopping us from dancing to the music that's going on here too, right? We got all kinds of live music on Sunday, and we've got Dr. DJ on Saturday night. And, so there's nothing stopping us from, there's yoga, but just keep it moving, right? Moving to the rhythm and the music. And then, what I want to inspire a lot of people to do is there's nothing wrong with just writing your own book, right? Your own memoirs, your own thoughts, and putting them into a book. And work with someone like Katira and put it together and publish your own book. Self-publish a book about who you are. A friend of mine did that, and he loved what he ended up with, right? A story that he can leave behind for his children and grandchildren. So, and we got another great person from IBM TV. She always looks like she comes on the backstage like, and she's real quiet, waiting. She knows her turn. Hey. Well,
hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
Fine. You're looking lovely today.
Thank you. I'm freezing my toes off. It is icy here in Africa. I'm not going to lie.
Wait a minute. South Africa, what's the temperature over there, Alexandria?
I don't even know the temperature. I can try and Google the temperature. All I know, the problem is that I the house that we live in, we lived here for 20 years, but we live right by a river. So we're down in a valley and we're by a river. So you can go up onto the top of the hill and it can be like a whole different world. But down here in the valley, it's icy. So it's just the river.
The places that are the coldest are near the water, right? Like in Chicago. Oh my gosh. If you are near that lake in the summer, it's cold. So any lake or river water source, because the river and the wind comes by, it makes it cold. So I hear it's cold there. Grant was telling us it was cold. So yeah,
yes.
it's freezing.
I think we're actually getting it. We're about to be hit with the cold front. So I mean, we're about to. I think there's been snow up in the sort of towards north of South Africa. There's sort of been snowfall. So I think that we're going to start getting sort of some cold winds coming down. I think we're sort of feeling that now as well.
So this is your winter.
So I'm going to say, technically, it's y'all's winter right now, right?
Yes, it is our winter. Yeah, April, May is sort of our fall, autumn. Then we hit winter, and then September is our spring. So it's the opposite of you guys. And the weird thing is that for the past 2 or 3 years, I have spent my winter in Nashville, which has been that summer.
Yes.
And the only winter I've really felt is when I've spent a little bit of time. I don't spend a lot of time in the winter side of Nashville. I do sort of spend like fall or spring, sort of the transitional seasons. I've never had a solid winter in Nashville. So I've really been skipping winter for the past 2 years.
So you got the perfect plan, Alexandria. I think you figured it out. You go because you spend spring and summer in America, and then you spend spring and summer in South Africa, and then you don't have a winter. So COVID ruined your whole master plan, because you had a master plan in place until COVID ruined it.
I had a master plan. I love that. I had a master plan. No, that's so funny. It's weird because, even if I look at it sounds the silly things like wardrobe. Now you can imagine, South Africa, we go into lockdown. Lockdown as in do not leave your house. Businesses close mid-March, which is still quite warm. So you can still get away with jeans and t-shirts and maybe a jacket. But now we're in the middle of lockdown and we've hit winter. We can't go out and buy winter clothes. And I've spent the last 2 years out of Africa during summers. I have no winter clothes. I have no winter clothes. And it's lockdown. You can't go buy anything. I can't buy long sleeve t-shirts. I can't buy socks. I can't buy anything. So you can imagine the frustration. But yeah.
No, I can't.
We're good now. We're opening up a bit.
You got to feel sorry for folks like that, because I mean, think about it. If you go into lockdown at a time when the stores are closed, or actually, I think it's worse if you get out of lockdown when the stores are still closed, because then you can't buy anything, because that's what's going on. So you're like coming out of lockdown, you go into one of those phases, and the stores are still closed. So you're sitting there going like, I need a winter jacket. I need a winter this. All my winter stuff is gone, or vice versa, the summer stuff, and you're stuck.
Yeah.
So this is just creating all kinds of interesting dilemmas for people in general, and that would be one of them.
And that is the truth. I feel it is the truth. And even, do you know what even happened to me is that this is now compounded. So I believe in lockdown. I believe in what we had to do. I think South Africa, our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, was incredible with how he acted and the people around him. Honestly, kudos to South Africa. I'm proud to be South African. But the lockdown has proven that it's some difficulties. For example, I was working on a project a couple of weeks ago, and I keep everything on hard drives because I don't want to keep it on my Mac. I want to keep my Mac clean so it's able to work quickly. I keep all on hard. I've got 3 or 4 hard drives. And of course, during lockdown, what was the only thing to crash that had all my projects on it? My hard drive.
You get a hard drive crash.
I had my hard drive crashed. I couldn't fix it. I couldn't go anywhere to get it fixed. I was actually calling iStore. I said, just help me out. And they were trying to help me do different things. Try this, try that. Nothing was working. Eventually, I figured out a way, getting to the back end, and I cheated a few things to figure it out.
No, I can totally relate, because do you know what one of the? I can totally relate, because do you know one of the worst things that has happened? It didn't happen to me. Knock on wood, if there's any wood nearby, but it did happen to others as well. Is I know a couple of folks that lost their phone contacts out of their phones during the lockdown, and that's got to be the worst feeling, because that's your lifeblood is trying to reach out to the rest of society while you're locked in your house, and You look down there and there's no phone contact. So I know I've had at least 1 or 2 friends that reached out to me asking me if I had so-and-so's number because they had that issue. And it was not like you're going to the phone company to get your phone fixed. So that was a whole nightmare for them. So I can relate to losing something like the hard drive or your phone or anything along those lines during this time. That would be not the move.
Well, and Kit experienced that too, where he lost everything on his phone, including, for whatever reason, WhatsApp. So when he converted to a backup phone, none of his WhatsApp worked because, you know, a lot of us do a lot of work on WhatsApp because it's easy to transfer stuff to it. So for whatever reason, it lost everything on WhatsApp. And I'm like, but that's cloud storage. That's why we use WhatsApp, right? And so he was never able to recover all of his stuff from WhatsApp because he had to switch to a different phone. And for whatever reason, it wouldn't recognize. So it was a mess. I get it. And here's the thing. Like, I'm like you. I'm okay. I got my people who can recover my hard drives for me. But they're not at work, right? And I can't. So I know what you mean. But this didn't just stop the world, it stopped everything. Like, you know, it didn't stop some things, it stopped everything that we're used to, our comforts, our backup, to having somebody help us. And again, I would go in panic zone because I've got 50 hard drives that I back up things to. And literally, I've probably got about 200 terabyte in my office. And if this office burned down, I'd be in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. So everything to the cloud. I don't back up everything to the cloud. So I don't trust the cloud. So
I think what you could do is it's better you save them in your emails and the clouds. It's kind of safer to me than you just putting them on hard drives.
Yeah.
I remember a time I got my softwares lost because of my hard disk crashed. And ever since then, I learned that lesson never to really depend on hard drives. I prefer them on the cloud and also on emails. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Go ahead.
I think it's I'm just thinking about the email thing. It's actually a good idea to do that. I'm also like a bit weary of the cloud just because the problem is that I have so many passwords. I have so many different things that I use different things for in different businesses, different accounts, whatever it is. And to try and make sure you get the right one, and you don't want to write it down because that's like you feel like it's a stupid thing to do. So I feel like if it's not on paper, then it's not real, you know? But the email's a really good idea. And I've even had a look at like a Google Drive. Like I've looked at Google Drive, so that might also be a good idea. But I think the email is a really good idea. Even to email it to a certain account, and I don't know,
email it to yourself basically. So almost like there's a term that they use for copywriting, where you basically mail the copyright to yourself. And Kim, you know the term I'm talking about, but it's like the poor man's copyright. So basically, it's the version of the poor man's copyright to store yourself and store your information.
It's a provisional or non-provisional. It will cost you money. Poor man can mail himself in a sealed envelope, U.S. postage stamp, because it will have a stamp date. And then what you do is when you get it, you write on the envelope, make sure that you title what it is, but don't ever open it. That seal is your that's how you protect it, right? But but you know what, the emailing is, and I used to. This is how I used to transfer large files. I would get one email account. This was a long time ago. I would get one. This is before Google, way before Google. I would get one email account, and we all shared it, and we would upload a file to it. You didn't have to send it anywhere, and the person would grab it from the email and put it back down on their computer, and that's how we transferred files years ago. And it did it because we couldn't. Some of the files were too big. We were databases, and that was a poor man's cloud transfer, and it went fast. And everybody was like, "How did you figure this out?" I go, "Well, one day I was uploading a file to my email account, and I realized when I shut everything down, that file was still there. I never sent it, but the file was still there. And I go, why can't I do this?" And then the guys I think who started Citrix, I was doing business with them and I shared with them what I was doing. That's I think how Citrix got started. I wish I had done that. I wish I had taken that and made a business out of it, right? But you're right. Email is probably the best way to not only do that but categorize it, right? Because you can make folders in your email, and then you can keep up with your files that way. I think it's a brilliant idea. Brilliant.
I mean, I think the thing is that like technology is always evolving, and I mean, even when it comes to the music industry, in order to prove that you wrote something, or that you wrote something on a certain date, and that you can prove it's yours, so nobody steals your idea, you'd mail it to you'd actually physically mail it to yourself, so that it would come back with a date and a stamp and everything, and you could then prove that you'd written it. And now you can send an email, and again, it's whenever I write a song, I send it to my publisher. It's got a time, a date, everything stamped onto that email and there. And so, I mean, I think it's amazing how technology is constantly evolving and sort of shifting and moving to actually make it easier for us. I think we just got to, I think for me, speaking for myself, I've got to try it. As a 24-year-old, I've got to try and figure this all out and make sure I'm up to date.
I know but you're so young. You talk so old, and you're so young. It's so funny. And people ask me how old are you, and I still say around 21 because that's when I met you. You were around 20, 21 when I met you, or that age. And I'm like, God, yeah, she is 24 now.
She's only 1 year away from the quarter mark.
So, but anyway, we're going to have to wrap up here soon. So I want to do a little bit of announcing of the shows coming up this week. As always, we've got Mark's radio talk show. We've got Saturday, a really, really fun game with Sasha. He's going to share with us how to play Chess Stars. And what Chess Stars is that you'll be able to guess the Grandmaster's move. And if you guess the right moves every time, you could win some money. Sasha.
Thank you, Kim. One more thing. The show will start at 2:30, not at 3 o'clock as usual. What's going to happen is that at 2:30, I will explain people what they're going to see at 3 o'clock, because this is a unique chess event. Nobody in the world does it. And there are some intricacies involved, and I would like to explain people really what they're going to see, and give people a chance if they want to participate in a contest, because there are cash prizes. So they could register and on chessstars.com. So this way they can participate and win prizes. First prize $50. Altogether there are 8 cash prizes. Okay.
Wow.
Number 2, the game will start at 3 o'clock, and people on IBM TV and YouTube would be able to see complete screen of Chess Stars. They will see the game, they will see the window of the contest, so they will see the standing of the leaders who has so many crowns and so on. So it will be all detailed information. And I will try to, during the game, because I will have to comment with Michael Pfeiffer on the game itself and help people with the predictions. And there are, for those people who are not very experienced, they have a chance to see Stockfish, which is a very strong program. They will see first 3 hints. So they can just use one of the hints, say top hint, second, and third one, to make their prediction. So that's a nice feature for those who don't feel confident enough to make their own predictions. So they can go by Stockfish predictions. And this way they have good practical chances, because obviously most of the time grandmasters are making one of the top 3 suggestions by Stockfish. Yeah, I was thinking about something. You were talking about crashes just 5-10 minutes ago, of all different type of crashes, and there is one crash happening right today. It's a stock market crash. It went down 5.5% or so.
Today?
Wow.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the stock market, you cannot call your technician and say, my hard drive is gone, please help. The stock market is different, unless you can help yourself. Nobody ever, anywhere will help you with your losses. That's what you have to know. That's why I said that the most.
That's why we're going to have this show. That's why we're going to have your show coming up real soon about how to trade stocks. because
is
Sasha's going to
only in
share
your
with us
hands.
his worldwide experiences, but mostly about how to trade stocks. And nobody does that.
Sasha's right. The stock market crash went down 15.
Oh, one more thing. While I was watching stock market,
my prediction's coming true.
I got incredibly sad news. Really, what's happening today in the world? I'll tell you. It's winter time, not only in South Africa and some other countries, but also in Brazil, where I was just 3 months ago, right before the coronavirus thing. And you know what's happening there? Do you know the beach, Copacabana Beach? Everybody knows about that.
Of course.
It's now being converted for a cemetery for a COVID.
Wow. Is it that many deaths?
It's horrible. You see all this Christ's figures, and people are there non-stop 24 hours a day. It just feels it's so sad.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
US
like
2 million cases of COVID today. So, or within the last couple of days.
Well, I'm going to pull that up, but I want to get Mark's show advertised real quick too. So, Sasha, make sure everybody watch Sasha on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have some other day, what time in your world. But if you watch his show and you register at chessstars.com, you can play the game, guess the next moves, and potentially win money. Now, and during this time of COVID, if you didn't get a stimulus check, you're going to have to beat me. I'm going to be there because I didn't get a stimulus check, so I need the money. And I'm going to play harder than anybody else. So the next person we got is Mark Lee, who does Radio Talk on our Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the only place you're going to get straight talk about what's going on. And it's Radio Talk. I love it. And it's got Dean's voice with Mark Lee.
That's right. And we're looking forward to having some great conversations again. Like I said before, we're lining up some artists and some performers to talk to, including some from our own family here at IBM.TV. I know that you're usually taking the day off, Alexandria, but at some point I want to get you on the show of my show and everything. So don't know when we'll have that happen, but know you're invited at some point or another, because I do want to get you on there. But we will have some, I'm trying to get some of my poetry friends and some others for this show. And then I've got the cook that does healthy living and the yoga lady the following Monday. So it'll be some great conversations, and we just have a good old time having good conversations. So looking forward to this coming Monday. Like I said, I think that some of you might have listened to the past rerun of this past Monday when I had the young lady from Pakistan. She really enjoyed being on, the comedian, and is hoping to come back in the very near future. And then some of my filmmaker friends are also talking about showing some of their films. We showed the brief clip of the filmmaker this past Monday with the film about dating. So the conversation also will sometimes center around what the creative work is about. So that we went into a whole conversation about online dating, because that's kind of what was happening. So it was an interesting conversation with the folks we had this past Monday, and there'll be some more great conversations coming up.
What's great about IBM TV is you can go and scroll on the front page, and you can look. We've got Monday shows, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and you can go look at the past shows if you missed any of them or want to replay them. And then, of course, we've got some great and wonderful music with our lovely, beautiful Alexandra May, Musical Cafe. And I'm real proud to introduce what she's doing. I think she controls our panel now when she introduces her show. So have at it.
It's always fun. I can't believe how much I've learned during lockdown, and then sort of hosting my own show and then also directing it as well. I know I have a wonderful director backstage during my show, but to also to take control of my own show is amazing. But this Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a really cool show sort of riddled with reality stars and people in the music industry here in South Africa. I'm going to bring up the poster for everyone to see. So we have a guy called Mark Buckner, and he is the South African Bachelor from last year. And then we have his bride-to-be, Marissa van Wyk. So we're going to be chatting to them about their day jobs, what they do, and obviously being a reality TV star and all that. Then we've got Asanda Brat, who is sort of in the PR side of the industry, a bit of a socialite as well, but also when it comes to the entertainment industry, just to see where he's at, how the industry is changing and evolving. And then we've got another power couple, Graham and Kim Watkins. So now Graham is part of a band called the Graham Watkins Project here in South Africa. They're one of the most successful bands in SA, and his wife Kim is also in the industry. And having them on, because we've got a bit of a power couple thing happening there, along with Mark and Marissa, and then Brett and I are going to be the singles within this power couple show. But it's gonna be a really cool show. So yeah, should I play the intro?
Please go ahead if you have it. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do.
I ain't no typical girl. I ain't no typical girl. I ain't cheerleading while the boys play ball. I ain't no typical girl. No. I wanna be right there in the middle of it all.
I love it. And Ed, your song was recorded and is playing on Apple, right? How did
It is. I've never seen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, and it looks like
My
you're
picture's stuck. This is ridiculous.
no, it isn't. You're moving very quickly.
Oh, am I?
I thought maybe you're on
I thought it
something.
was all stuck. No.
Hey, you're taking something in South Africa we don't know much about here. You know, can I have a little of that?
typical girl.
Hi, I'm Alexander May.
I hope we record that. She ain't no typical girl. Someone go.
My picture's like stuck here.
Okay. I got to advertise you on all the chess websites because all the chess players love you. I don't know if you know that. They go, "Does she play chess?" I'm going like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I might have challenged Jim.
Might
to a
have
chess match
Oh,
by accident.
Alexander
But
May.
I said I'd read his book for his Chess for Dummies.
Mhm.
So I said I'd read that.
Yeah.
And then I challenge him to a chess game. So I haven't been able to buy a book
Wow.
for obvious reasons.
Right.
Oh,
But as
you
soon
know
as
what?
I do buy a book, the
You should
challenge
play
is
him on
on.
his
Alexandra, I
show.
don't think
That
you
we should
need
do.
this book because the book is a chess for dummies.
Yeah, you're
Don't
smart.
consider it
You don't
like
need
that.
that book. Yeah.
This guy.
Nick and Alexandria,
Yeah.
don't worry. I made the mistake of challenging Alexander, and he realized that I didn't know what I was doing when I challenged him. He sent me a nice little note and said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to play you." He knew he would have embarrassed me, but I went on the little website. I tried to challenge him, and he sent me a nice little note like, "No, Mark, you can't hang."
Okay,
Oh,
I can
my
help you out,
goodness.
Alexander. Here's what you do. Okay,
Sure.
you go to your little portable computer, you type in the positions, and you move the chess there. You cheat, and then you can play really good because you find this computer program called Stockfish. You go to that computer program, and he's playing the computer, and he doesn't know it, right, Alexander? There's no way he would know. Yeah, they all know that.
But anyway,
I
you probably should all know that most of the games played online are there is a cheating involved.
Yeah, there's
Well,
I don't know if you know that.
So don't be surprised if you're
There's a
playing.
lot of people, Alexander, there's no kidding. A lot of people online today, when they play, they cheat because they have the computer with them and they have the computer playing their moves. But
Oh, by the
then
way,
you don't have to be a chess for dummy. You could be a
Nick,
grandmaster.
guess what?
No,
I
it's
played
true.
yesterday a few games with somebody on the chess.com. And his rating was below mine, and I won a couple of games, and I thought about tweeting. But he challenged me again and said, okay, I'll let him try. So he plays obscure moves, like he started with H4, A4, and so on, some absolutely incredible, stupid moves. But then, shortly after the opening, his position started improving slowly here and there. I couldn't figure out how to overcome his resistance, and sure enough, I lost the game very soon. Then next game, the same thing. He's playing A5, H5, and
Wow.
so on. But then he starts his computer assistant, so-called, or cheating, some other people consider it. And I lost again. I lost 5 games in a row to a player rating below mine, and he's playing extremely stupid moves on purpose. And now you know,
Play, put the computer program on Alexander and say, "Okay, Jim, I'll play you." I bought the book Chess for Dummies. I think I'm real good now. Then what you do is you type in the computer program, you play them, you beat them because you have the computer playing them, and it's called cheating.
Works every time.
Cheating.
I like the plan. Is chess popular in Nigeria?
Yeah, I do. We do play chess. I was fascinated when I heard you guys talking about chess. I started playing chess in secondary school, and we went for tournaments. Yeah, it was awesome. We still have tournaments here, but presently I don't attend present tournaments now. For now, because of due to some issues I'm having. But chess is a lovely game, and I would like to play Alexander. Honestly, I would like to play, but I don't know how it's been done.
Alexander, you're going to have all the chess players.
So start watching chess.
It's a cult family. It's a.
Do you have PayPal account?
No, I don't. You know,
because they're sending prizes by PayPal.
You're setting prices on PayPal? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can I get prizes on PayPal?
Okay, I'll try to.
You can if you can guess people's moves. I'm not sure, but you go to
I
chess.
just want prizes on PayPal. That's what I want. But thanks.
Yeah.
No, but if you have,
She just want the prizes. That's all. Alexandria is very clear. She just wants the prizes.
She just wants the prizes. Hey, Alexander, forget all this chess stuff. Just give her the prize, baby.
Notice every
Just
one of
give
us
her the
grabbed our
prize.
phone. Every one of us grabbed our phone, and we're going, how do we sign up for PayPal?
Yeah, Alexander, all you have to do is interview one chess player. All the chess players will follow you. They'll go, oh, she loves chess. We're in love with her. That's how they think. I'm just saying.
I do love chess.
Interview Jim or interview one of those masters he has, and they'll go, oh, she loves chess. She must be wonderful.
You know who were
all
very
the
strong
600 million
players?
chess players will follow you.
Two very strong players from the history of entertainment were Yves Montand and Simona Signoret.
Also,
strong
Humphrey
chess
Bogart. Humphrey Bogart
was good.
Lauren
Charlie
Bacall.
Chaplin.
Lauren Bacall played, and Humphrey Bogart played all the time. Go Google Humphrey Bogart chess, and you will see. Not only do you like Casablanca, which is near where Oki Chihuahua lives. Okay, it's right up the street, right? He loved Casablanca, but he also loved to play chess. Humphrey Bogart, Google it, chess.
Interesting. I mean, I get musicians playing chess because it's all math. Music is math, chess is math. So I totally get that. I think Charlie Chaplin though. Did you say it's
Charlie Chaplin? Yeah.
He played a few games against Mereshevsky. You know that?
Oh, you know who also is an addict? There's two of them that you may not know about. One had to quit because he became so addicted to it, he was losing his job. Howard Stern. Okay, he goes, I can't do this anymore because I'm playing chess and I'm not doing my job anymore. The other guy is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He goes,
oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he plays all the time. He's like,
wow.
Okay, he's online all the time.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Like it's funny that
we'll bring him on. We'll bring him on your show. I'll invite him, and then you can interview.
Oh, do you mind?
I do not mind.
Alexander, apparently there's a woman named Lisa Lane who is very popular because she's also a beauty queen as well. Right. So she's appearing on everything because she's also appearing in like the magazines while she's kicking people's backsides in chess.
Yes.
But she was also a U.S. chess champion.
I will get Arnold. He will be back. Yeah.
He will be back.
Yeah. Also Richard Branson. Richard Branson plays all the time too. He's
that makes sense. That makes sense.
So but you find out
on the island. He
owns Nectar Island. Yeah, and he's got a big chess set. A big chess set right on Nectar Island because he doesn't think about it. You're in an island. You have nothing better to do, so he plays chess. I mean,
what's amazing?
But you know who hates chess?
South Carolina that owns her own like part of South Carolina. There was a young actress that owns her own little part of South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a player. Okay. Well, the thing is, there's a person who actually hates chess and one loves it. They both started a company called PayPal. One became a master, and he was kind of the original starter of PayPal. The other one became famous, and they're both very wealthy. And the one that hates chess is Elon Musk. He doesn't
Elon
like.
Musk does not like chess. The man
Really?
wants to go to
He thinks
space
it's
all the
he
time.
goes it's a waste of time. Let's go to Mars. You know what I mean?
You know what they play on the spaceship? They play chess.
I know that, but I'm just telling. I'm letting you know. We will not have Elon Musk on this show. He's banned forever.
So
We do
Because he
not
hates
have
chess.
anti-chess players on the
And
show.
guess what? Tesla stock went down today. 7%.
Peter Thiel is a master chess player. His
Wait a
partner.
minute. You said
Maybe
that he's
that's why he
banned?
hates chess.
You said he's banned for life? I was going to like try to get him on the video show.
No,
Get him
Elon
to talk
Musk.
about
No,
it.
we'll have Peter Thiel. His partner in PayPal is Peter Thiel, who's the chess master. Elon Musk, they both started PayPal together, hates chess. Peter Thiel loves it. So we'll get Peter
I
Thiel.
played with Peter online a couple
Oh,
months
did you?
ago.
He's like a master player. He's real strong.
Yes, he is. He is.
You
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, speaking of which, I have to
We have
go.
at 2:00 and we have
Yep.
to go.
So get the airplane off, and I'm going to take off.
We
See you
have
guys.
to take off. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for joining
Thank
us.
you, everybody.
Sharing your wonderful shows that we're going to be watching in the near future. Please be safe and remember to love everyone. Let's work together and unite to make one a world. And namaste. And I guess I don't know if Anka's here to help me get our ambassador to play here, but I moved things, so just bear with.
coronavirus से कैसे बचेंगे? ओके, हैंड होकर और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अथू अथू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का.
And there you have it. Our ambassador for great new social manners. She's our new leader. I know. Don't you just want to? I know. I love that
You just
little
want
girl.
to pinch her. You just want to hug her. She's just an amazing ambassador. And
She's so cute.
it helps that she's like
So cute.
part of the team since she's related to Ankit. So
She is
it's
part of the
a
team.
wonderful person. So
Hug her up. That's what I want to do. But everyone, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
And that's a wrap.